Oh, what's going on? Huh. Article. What? What? No, not worth it.
Ready to be released. I'm gonna say ready. Whenever the game is released, I believe it's ready. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Almost about to level up.
Right, we're back, Carlo, and it's here.
Oh my god.
It's here, right?
It's fucking here. So is everybody. Everybody's here.
It is.
I actually. I don't know what fucking hit me in the last week. Like.
I know, right? It's it's all mental. It's all broken down. No one knows what's going on anymore. The world's on fire, and the 2021 update is actually out.
It's great. It's great. Everybody's loving it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think. Like. There are some people. There's some people who are like, "Oh no, I hate the game. I'm quitting the game." Like literally, like a couple of comments now here and there on Facebook, right? But like, why did it take so long? Like everybody's so happy it's here. Like I feel like okay, there have been some improvements over some of the visions.
Yeah.
So but I think practically everybody's happy. I think that everybody's happy. We'll see. Maybe some people are really unhappy about their own faction, but everybody feels positive about the game in general right now. So I'm just so glad. I'm so glad that it's here. Like the suspense, the waiting, it's very real right now.
It is. It is very real, and it might. Well, it turns out that it might actually be a really, really fun time. Now, for whatever reason, my timer is not going to go up on the screen here. For whatever reason, that may or may not be, which is obviously really sad for us. But the plan today is to take 15 minutes each. Well, each 15 minutes, and we've got 15 minutes to go through the factions. That takes us through 7 factions, 8 factions if you include Greyjoys. That's 2 hours, but we might ignore the Greyjoys and have a summary at the end. So, buckle in. It's going to be fast. It's going to be big. It is 15 minutes on every single faction. Carlo and I mean, I've played some games. I've done a lot of thinking. I've been really active on the Discords and things like that, talking with lots of players. Carlo, not so much. He's been mostly coding the website and getting that fixed. He's fixing a load of other stuff. We'll talk about the last little bits of that when we finish the episode. 15 minutes, Carlo.
Skim the card. I like skim the card to see if its points value has changed, and then I just like move on to the next one. Like I don't even have time to read the rules. And there are some rules which people have told me about that I like completely missed because I literally just like skim through the cards. I'm like, same cost, same cost, same cost, same cost, same cost. And then people are like, oh, by the way, you can't take skin changes in units with other attachments anymore. And I'm like,
whoa,
yep.
Spoilers. Whoa, spoilers.
Yep.
So,
already diving ahead. But we're starting with the best faction.
Starting with the best faction.
The Lannisters.
Let's hit that start button. 15 minutes, guys. Let's go. Right. Lannister Guardsmen, 5 points. We know about that. We know about the Lannister Supremacy. They are as released. Out of 5. 1 to 5.
People were losing their minds over them, and yet, like, I actually feel like internally within the within the Lannisters, it's a really contested unit. They're good. You might field them. You might just end up fielding poor fellows. You might pay 1 point more and field halberdiers or even red cloaks. I think they've actually got a perfect sweet spot within their own faction. I think that as a general rule, the Lannisters have got some real powerful units going on.
Come on, out of 5, 1 to 5. First impression.
We'll give it a 4 just so that it's got room to still go up.
That's 4 Carlo wows there. Right then, 6 6-point halberdiers. We've already seen these guys before as well with the new set for charge. Again, pretty much the same as we saw in the visions. Out of 4, out of 5 even.
I'll give him a 3. I actually really hate the fact that under the current rules, if you charge them in the flank, they're going to be able to if they're unengaged and you charge them in the flank, that they get to turn, put you in their front and attack you before they do. I actually think that's a really clunky rule. I I think that they were fine being charged in the front only, and maybe they just needed tuning up somewhere else. But I don't like them that much myself, and there are lots of people who seem to be using them as a commander unit, though. I think.
Okay, cool. We'll move on then. The House Clan Mountains men. We've no idea what these guys look like. 6-point unit again. So they've got the 754 stat line on the 4+ with the 5 movement, 4+ armor, 7 morale. That's relatively standard for Mountains men. With the Change Marauder's Blade for crit blow and losing vicious, but gains +1 to hit and vicious when attacking an enemy with fewer remaining ranks. And it comes with Prey on Fear. I think, for what it's worth, this is sick. 6 points.
I don't think it's a unit that Lannisters need. Myself, I think that actually they just like Lannisters aren't an aggression faction, and they don't need a finisher unit. They apply pressure continuously. I'm not saying that they're bad, and I think they have the same problem that Mountains Men had in the last edition, which is most factions would have been really, really happy to take Mountains Men for 6 points in their faction, but Lannisters don't have anything to combo it with. I don't think that they've just got that problem, which is that they don't fit the rest of the faction that well. We'll see whether or not Gregor or a new, cheaper Hound can kind of create a new House Clegane kind of list, and if that has any real viability.
Right. Okay. So how many out of 5? Come on.
We'll go 3 again.
3 again. Cool. The Pyromancers, again, we've seen these guys before, the 774 on both attacks, short and in melee, 6/6 morale and stats line, and the 5 movement with the Vicious, the not rolling, the defense, the 1 wounds everywhere, and the new Havrik Visage. You still happy with these guys? You were pretty happy with these guys before, but you didn't think they'd see play. You reckon now?
I think there's a tendency as a bigger scope. I think there might be a tendency towards the game becoming much more defensive. We're seeing a lot more 3+ armor saves, a lot more tougher grinding units, tougher grinding combats, and Pyromancers might actually become a really key part of at least one list for Lannisters. It might be really key for them to have access to them. I don't think they're a powerhouse unit in themselves, but I think that they do actually fill out an important role, which is different to what I think about the Mountains Men.
Definitely. Okay. Out of 5 then, I'm going to ask you.
We'll give them a 4.
Give them a 4?
Give them a 4.
Cool.
Yeah.
I hope someone's writing all these down, by the way, because I'm not. Knights of Castle Rock at 8. We see the first Lance Cavalry, something people were waiting for. So the Lance is it's the charging, the charge attack, the spear attack that the Spearwives had. The +1 hit for each remaining rank, coming with Sundering as well. 6/4 stat line, 3 armor, which you'd expect, and the 6 morale, 5 movement. And they come with the Lancer Supremacy of the Guardsmen. What are your thoughts?
I don't like Lance. I feel like they've been harshly done by. Like all, I think I say all. It's them and Tully Cavaliers at the moment.
Yeah.
They gained +1 attack on their second rank, but still, like you used to be a 6/3, which on the charge was really a 9/6 with crit blow and sundering, and now you're like getting a couple of hits. You're 6 with the +2 hits. I think that like people might have to field them. I don't know. Have to is not the right word. These in practically every Lannister list that I can possibly think of are worse than Flayed Men. Flayed Men have so much more synergy with everything that Lannisters have going on, and so I really don't think that Knights of Castle Rock will see much play because they're competing with a neutral unit at their own points cost, and so they're going to be a 2. They're going to be a 2 for me.
Cool. 2 there. First some 2 Carlo doubts. So there we go. Lannister Crossbowmen at 6. Carlo, you've seen these guys a little bit. Go on.
They got done dirty. They. I feel like there was all this talk about the Night's Watch Crossbowmen, and then they were like, oh god, ranged units might be overpowered. Let's just batter every ranged unit and make them crap. And that wasn't the problem. The problem was a specific combo, a specific set of things. That 4+ to hit is an absolute nightmare for ranged units. Ranged units hitting on a 4+ means that when they're weakened, they're absolutely terrible. they have nothing going for them. Like, their main use used to be Preston Grenfield and Tyrion. Like, I mean, combo together, very, very powerful. But like, either of those things gave them huge viability inside of Lannisters. They weren't even doing that much by themselves. It was more an easy way to create card draw with Preston. Easy let out cause for Tyrion to just rapid fire with them. I think this unit's a 1. Like, they're worse than Stormcrow Archers. They've got the same problem as the Knights of Castle Rock. Same points cost, neutral unit, which is just better than them at their own role. And so, yeah,
Ooh, that's
not happy with this change. I don't feel like they needed to go to a 4+ to hit.
that is a big Carlo doubt there on a 1 out of 5. I'm in agreement. I think they're terrible. So moving on, and we've got Gregor, the mountain that rides. Something about the Gregor that people don't know is that Gregor, from the 1.6 variant of him, posted a 63% win rate in the end of 1.6. Yes, this man alone brought Lannisters up to 63% win rates. There's lots of reasons for that. We've talked about it before. Let's just look at him today. He comes with 4 movement nowadays, 3 dice on 3+, 2+ armor, keeping that, and the 4+ morale. He's got 4 wounds, so he's slightly honk. Oh yeah, there's worse morale. He's got 4 wounds, so he is a bigger cavalryman, which kind of makes sense. I'm happy with that. And he comes with cleaving blows, so crit blow on the charge, and no defense dice, with also intimidating presence. Again, thematically there. What do you reckon?
I think he's a little bit different. The tiniest bit worse up until you get to intimidating presence, in which case he's like right back up there. I think he is so powerful. I think he's not going to be defining the faction as being top tier or not top tier anymore, but I still think that he's near the first 4 points that you put in any list, just because of his maneuverability is super important to Lannisters as well. And for him, he can threaten his intimidating presence means that he can threaten to charge a full unit to help support somebody else, or he can go off hunting solos and all the other small things that are like slowly creeping into the game with more and more commonality. I think that he's a 5. He's a 5 out of 5. In terms of power, I'm talking power level here, of course. And all of these, I'm talking power level. I'm not talking how much I think that this is a good balance change. Because he got changed. He didn't even get nerfed.
Yeah. Okay then. So another one for the top end. So moving on, we see the Warrior Sons, a unit that you've actually personally loved in the past from a you want to make them work perspective, but basically never did. They were constantly a chink. Well, from our personal games, they were constantly a chink in your armor. It was actually how I often beat you, was taking advantage of this unit and killing it.
Often.
Sometimes. So we see here the new battle prayer. So they're 7/6/4 attacks on 3+, 5 move, 4 armor, 5 morale. The battle prayer, they start with a faith token as standard, and they get the +1 block for each destroyed rank on the defensive use, and they get sundering and rerolling the dice on the offensive use. Thoughts? 7.
I'll reserve judgment. I think they're probably relegated, and almost rightly so. They're relegated, and they already were, to only a High Sparrow unit. I think that they're a High Sparrow commanded unit and nothing else. We'll see whether or not people can make them work. I see them maybe as a unit that High Sparrow himself goes into.
Okay, cool. Out of 5.
Chat reckons they're really good for 7. Yeah, okay. I mean, they have gone down. They have gone down by a point. Yeah, people are saying they're OP for 7, but I mean, just wait till you see what you can buy for 6.
So out of 5, gone.
I'll not a 3. I haven't looked closely. I feel like they're a combo based unit. They're going to be really based on what attachment you can put in them and what cards you can use to help generate faith tokens.
Cool. 4 minutes left. Let's see if we can do the rest in 4 minutes. Whoa. So this is not going to work. We might have to go it for 20 minutes. We'll see how it goes. So Poor Fellows at 4. We already know Poor Fellows. They've actually changed slightly. Needing the fanatical zealous resurgence, they need to spend the faith token to get 2 wounds +1, only if it has 1 remaining rank. Do you think they're still something you'd look at taking?
Yes, but that's because of the value of a 4-point unit with wounds on the board. That also is still not easy to kill. It's not a 4-point throwaway unit. This isn't the same as Raiders. This isn't the same as Trappers. A unit which, like, you look at them funny and they're going to disappear. These guys aren't the do everything unit anymore, but I think they're completely viable. They're still a 4. I think that they open up really important list building opportunities for the Lannisters, and Lannisters can now be the new faction that actually pushes everybody else's activation count and makes everybody else feel bad for fielding 7 because they're fielding 8 and 9.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on. And we see the Kingsguard. So the Kingsguard have not really changed. They were on 3 morale before. 3 armor, sorry. 7 dice on 2+. 5+ morale, 5 movement still, and they come with Counter Strike and Iron Resolve. Iron Resolve, the kind of opposite to Intimidating Presence, is like the direct inverse. And Counter Strike, obviously, existing as it has before. The Baratheon banners.
They've taken a morale nerf in reverse though. They used to be 4+ morale.
And specifically, they couldn't have their morale affected, right? They couldn't.
Yeah, they used to have Fearless on top of that, which is they never suffered negative modifiers, but could have positive modifiers.
Yeah. Thoughts? I mean, it's hard without looking at Joffrey, but
I haven't actually looked at their banners. I believe that their banners don't allow a cavalry move anymore, which is actually a really big negative. But possibly that you can spend more than 1 banner at a time, or more than 1 banner within a turn. I'm unsure. And obviously, they're all entirely rolled up inside of who Joffrey is and how powerful Joffrey is himself. I think that they're viable. I don't think that Joffrey is going to be top tier myself.
So the banners, in case you wanted to know, can be this turn. By the way, you can remove Baratheon banners to gain the following. You can remove any number at the start of a turn, start of an activation, sorry, to gain these effects. This turn, you gain Crit Blow and Sundering. This turn, attacks gain Vicious, and if the defender fails the panic, they suffer +1 wound. This turn, when this unit performs an attack, before an attack die, the defender becomes panicked and weakened. And this unit restores 2 wounds and may reroll charge and retreat distance dice this turn. So those are the 4 banners. Some healing, lots of offensive.
I'd still rather have the free retreat or cavalry move instead of the last one, even though it does have healing. Yeah, they're good. They're good. I haven't actually looked closely enough at what Joffrey happened to his cards.
Cool. We're down to less than a minute, and we haven't even got onto the attachments. We have failed this dramatically, haven't we? We got onto the Red Cloaks. Oh, what?
7.
Before we move on to the Red Cloaks, out of 5.
Give him a 4.
4. Red Cloaks for 6.
Game breaking.
Right, we'll move on. These are 5 out of 5,
breaking.
right? I think everyone agrees these guys are nuts.
They're 6 out of 5. They're 10 out of 5. They're the defining feature of the current edition.
Yep.
I can't believe they were released. I actually have no fucking clue why they were released.
And we've got 2 boxes of them arriving for your Lannister army on Wednesday, and I think you're going to want more.
I'm going to feel bad playing as them, but fuck yous.
Right then. 5 out of 5. There's a Carlo wow for you. Right, we move on to the attachments then, and there we go. That is 15 minutes. We've failed dramatically to do this. Let's just keep going, We and we'll stop when we need to stop.
We staying on Lannisters?
No, we'll stay on Lannisters.
Maybe...
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right, Assault Veteran. Intimidating
3
Presence.
hours of Lannisters.
Who cares? No, this is actually a good ability. Fine.
It's fine. It's fine for a point. If you want to combo it, if you want to squeeze a point in there, I'd still not be losing an activation to have this.
Yep.
I'm not losing an activation to get this ability.
But it is a good ability, nonetheless, for a point.
It's fine, and it has great synergy with Lannisters in general. But you can find it elsewhere.
Yeah. As attachments, 3 to 5 points goes. Well, 3 to 5 stars.
Oh, 3.
3. Okay.
3. I'll probably score every attack. No, I'll probably not score a single attachment above a 3. Like 3 is a really good attachment.
So the guard captain, the reverse, he gets the Iron Resolve. Do you care about guard captains?
No, I don't actually.
I don't either.
I need to play some games. If we move into a real sustain kind of thing, then maybe. But I prefer the assault veteran over the guard captain. I'd rather push because Lannisters have so many sources of pushing through damage, and the guard captain is unique to his own unit, whereas the assault veteran just needs to get engaged with somebody, and then every additional card source of panic you can do extra damage with. He's a 2.
He's a 2. Okay. Sandor Clegane for a point. For what it's worth, I will say the one thing that I think they've done really well in the patch, in the update, is named characters in some factions feel worth the point value. And Sandor Clegane comes with all this for a point. So we see he comes with a Clegane affiliation, which is great. Fueled by Slaughter, which is, I think, a brilliant ability. And Furious Charge, vulnerable on the charge. Out of 5?
Give him a 4.
Hey.
You know, he's actually just like really good value for a point.
Yep.
You know, like, so if you have a point left, definitely put him in. Still, we're not quite at the like craft my list around it, but maybe even I'd drop a 6-point unit for a 5-point unit with him. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're into that kind of scale. Like, he can maybe provide more for that point than the raw unit stats can do, and that's more interesting. You know, like, it's much better that characters are wanted to be put into armies than just you want to field more units.
Yeah, I mean, I can 100% see Sandor Clegane in something like a Mountain's Men to give them the fuel by slaughter, to give them that like regen effect to keep them pushing through. But yeah, okay then. Moving on to Tywin Lannister then, the commander. They're in. I have no idea what order these attachments are in, by the way. So Tywin Lannister, it comes with Threaten, just
Same as before.
great ability,
Yeah.
and Lannister Supremacy, which we obviously know about. So this is obviously Commander Tywin.
Basically exactly the same as he was, except that Lannister Supremacy is just fucking obscene now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Lannister Supremacy is nasty, nasty, nasty. I think that Tywin looks really strong, and I haven't looked closely enough at people's cards. Probably shouldn't go through them.
Yeah.
I've heard that people think that his cards are pretty good as well. So I'm super glad that Tywin's top up there now, because he's always been one of my favorites.
Yep. I'm sorry you're late, Tara.
Yeah.
You've only missed.
There now, pretending that I like him before he becomes the top commander, like Mickey did with Targs.
Yes. So Tyrion up next, can employ intercept false agenda, and he comes with his counter strategy and tactical reposition. 2 orders here again. Counter strategy staying the same, pretty much as always you'd expect. Not getting the stupid discard things to reroll it though. And
now it's only on when somebody targets within short range, which is what his attachment variant used to do, as opposed to what his commander variant used to do. His commander used to be battlefield wide, so it's quite a big nerf. Mostly because, like, it's more the generic, just like, you know, like, you know, what do you call it? Like, you know, there's too many, or like anything like that. That just is going to have an effect somewhere totally across the battlefield. He just used to be able to counterplot it. Tyrion has been absolutely nerfed into fairness.
Yeah,
actually. He's been nerfed into fairness from being the most unplayable, unnice thing to have to meet in a game. He was so high roll depending on what he drew, and if he could delay the game until the later stages, he was just the best commander in the game, in my opinion. Like, you know, he didn't have all the units, the attachments, the faction to back himself up, but he as a commander in any other faction would have been the biggest joke ever. He would be 100% take. So I think it's way more acceptable now. We'll see whether or not he's competitive.
Yeah, we won't rate the commanders for what it's worth, guys, because it's impossible without the cards to fully do that. Barristan Selmy for 2 points, obviously without the Kingsguard. Stalwart and Duty to the Crown. Just first impressions, 2 points. What do you reckon?
Nah. You're still asking too much for 2 points. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
Don't want him. He's worth 2.
Fair enough.
He's good. 2 out of 5. Not
2 out of 5. Moving on. Jaime Lannister, the 2-point version of the Kingsguard variant, comes with Expert Duelist and Counter Strike.
Is it going to be the attachment meta that everybody was promised? Are we going to care about Expert Duelist? Big question. 3 out of 5.
Okay. Mandon Moore, 1 point. Dominance of the Crown. Controlling crowns when this unit performs an attack, you get +1 to hit and sundering.
Nah, three. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, Joffrey helps all the Kingsguard who want to have that control of that crown. It makes it near constant as opposed to you only have it 50% of the time. But like, it's just like it has a negative effect on your tempo and like your control of of what you do and when. So I feel like yes, it would probably be it's too much to receive those benefits for 1 point alone, but to not have them at all times feels a bit expensive for one.
Okay. Right then. Out of 5.
I give him I
give
don't
him
know,
two?
3.
Give me 3.
Three.
Give me 3. Okay.
3.
Meryn Trant for a point. Intimidation of the Crown. So same kind of thing. Perform a melee attack. The defender becomes panicked and weakened before the attack.
Similar. Still a 3. He's got both now, but it's only when you perform a melee attack rather than just throwing them out in long range for every action. So that's way down in terms of like what it can actually do. There might be some, they're two pretty useful keywords for two useful tokens though.
Yep. Aris Oakheart for a point. Protection of the Crown. Each time this unit is attacked, it may re-roll any defense dice.
That's weird. This one's a new ability. I've seen it scattered throughout quite a few units actually that they can re-roll your defense dice. It's like a inverse vulnerable. Maybe a 2 again because like your opponent can, when they activate first, they can go out there and get it. Even if you're running Joffrey, they can go out there and hit you before you can switch this ability on. Particularly, they're just going to come out here and hit swords, and you're not going to have this ability when you want it. Your opponent will control when the attack comes in.
Sure. Okay. So just probably only hitting 2 or 3 out of 5.
2.
Boris Blout. I've never pronounced his name right, by the way. Probably Blunt, isn't it? Anyway, Vengeance of the Crown, controls your swords. Attacker swords 1 wound for each of this unit's destroyed ranks.
No. 1.
Okay, 1.
It took me a while to work out what his ability even did.
Just sometimes does damage. Preston Grenfield. He's got rid of the card draw.
Preston. What did they do to you?
They gave him every time you claim crowns, gain the maneuver or march action. Anti-synergy with Joffrey, maybe?
Yeah, and anti-synergy with Lannisters in general. Okay, you can march, which is significantly better. It is significantly better than taking the maneuver zone, but it's only on that unit, which makes it incredibly predictable. If your opponent lets you take crowns with this unit, then they know that you're going to do this. I think that he's not great. No, I don't like him. I think he's a 2.
A 2. I do think he has Red Cloak synergy, but yeah. But the problem is that you don't. Yeah. Right. Okay. Champion of the Faith for a point. Warcry. So he comes with the new Warcry ability, which is panicked and vulnerable within long range after a morale test at the start of a friendly turn.
Pretty good actually. I think maybe a 4. Particularly because the Faith units are kicking around. It's the timing effect of you being able to push it out at any time that you want, as opposed to it being linked to must have zone, must have this, must have that. It's linked to passing that morale test, which is already a thing that Poor Fellows and Warrior Sons want to be activating anyway. And number 2, it's a very high chance that they'll pass. So, it's linked to a very easy thing. 2 tokens for that. Long range, much better activation and control than on attack. So,
yep. Okay.
And yeah,
you've been trolled.
Yeah, whatever, Weasel.
Gregor, the Tywin's Mad Dog, the infantry attachment, gives +2 wounds on melee attack. and has the uncontrollable wage. Uncontrollable wage. Where it fails a panic check morale check at the start of a turn. When he activates, he has to do a 6-inch charge, or the 6 plus movement
2, right?
charge. 2 points, yeah.
He's better than 3. Obviously, I've never been a fan of uncontrolled rage. You're either like really weirdly using it as a morale token generation inside of your faith units, where you're never going to get the charge, or you're really like relying on you're hoping that a 7+ morale unit fails. He's not bad because the rest of his package is actually fine. Two auto wounds and stuff. He's maybe worth a 3. But I don't like him personally, but like I wouldn't necessarily want you to be fielding him either because of the wild card of like the near 50/50 of the 7+ morale. Like I can't control what you're gonna do.
Yep, definitely. So probably is it your 3 out of 5 then?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. Okay then, the Jaime Lannister, the Commander variant. Of course, we saw him Counter Strike and Disrupt. Nice and simple.
Strong. That's a strong package, particularly when you look at some of the very defensive units that they have. I think Jamie's going to be up there now. He's not the meme joke anymore. He's probably a 4.
Okay, cool. The Commander version of Gregor comes with obviously House Clegane affiliation, Furious Charge I talked about, and he comes with his Unstoppable Wrath plus 2 wounds.
Stronger than it used to be. I'd rather have the 2 wounds than the Sundering, I think. Especially, you keep the vulnerable instead of the Sundering. Yeah, he's quite good. I haven't seen his cards, but he does bring whole new dynamics to the faction. And his failing for me always was that he couldn't make tempo plays because he was inside Lannisters. But if Lannisters now are one of the factions really pushing the activation count high, he can make tempo plays, and he might actually be a bit of a fucking bastard these days. He might be really hard to play against.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, Jaime the Young Lion for 2 points comes with martial training and abilities seen before and stalwart.
No, not really. Not that interested in Stalwart. Though reroll attack dice does seem to be becoming way more important in general. With the train rules, I've seen the few games that I've seen, it seems pretty common for chargers to not be getting their rerolls. So maybe I'm underselling him, but I'm still not paying 2 points.
Okay. 2 out of 5 then probably.
2.
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
Okay. The Mounted Behemoth, the cavalry attachment for Gregor, and he is identical to his. I mean, I like that he's identical to his foot version. It makes things easy. I think
I don't want to pay 3 points. I can't pay 3 points for an attachment. I still can't. I don't care. Like, why are you 3 points when your infantry wants 2 and you do identical things? Like, I don't actually think that the 6th charge is any better on Cav. If anything, they care less about being able to get auto distance charges because they can already manipulate the charge distance anyway. No, I don't like him. Probably a 2. I'm not paying 10, 11 points for a unit of cavalry, thanks.
Yeah, to just answer your question there, Charles, the reason he doesn't come with Clegane affiliation is because the Clegane affiliation only matters if you're playing Gregor Clegane commander. So if he's an attachment, you're not playing him as a commander, so it's actually irrelevant. That doesn't actually make any difference. Alright, moving on. Tyrion, the Giant of Lannister, only 1 point. Comes with counter strategy. For a point.
I don't like it. Only because of the short range.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will come up with some interesting little fire and blood bubble army that sits in the corner. But I think he's a 2 out of 5.
Okay. Joffrey, the Commander. So, he comes with 1 rule, and 1 rule only. When he dies...
5 out of 5. Look at that. That's a pick. I'd take that.
He got 2 points. Now, obviously, this is not alone. Like he grants 2 points. Specifically, when he is destroyed, your opponent gains 2 victory points, and each of your units in long range becomes panicked. We rate him with the Kingsguard, obviously. This is not too dissimilar to what he was anyway. In fact, isn't this the same?
Yeah, it's the same rule. The only person who didn't have it was Rickon, right? Rickon's was different, which
Yep.
was only when you
Killed the unit.
destroy the unit, but not him. Yeah.
Starks.
Yeah, his is always just kill Joffrey, get 2 points.
Yep. You fine with that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a fine rule for these important commanders with cards. I think they did really well to balance Joffrey. He had some powerful outlays, and he was all of his command, all of his tactics, yeah, everything about him was about, is it worth the risk? And they had it spot on that it was just about worth the risk.
Yeah. All right then. Sentinel Enforcer. We saw this guy not very recently. He comes with Taunt. Taunt is, I think, marginally better now. And there is discussion. Taunt is going to be errated, I believe, to work on cavalry, which solves that whole debate. It doesn't.
I don't care.
The rule doesn't. But yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Even inside Lannisters, who have ways to manipulate that morale test, I still don't care. Still not a good ability. I'm still not interested.
Fair enough. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 5.
He can have 2 because Lannisters have ways to manipulate the test. And you know what? Maybe you will 1 in a million, 1 in 5 games. You will absolutely fuck over those Lannister, those like Night's Watch crossbowmen after you march up to them and you force them to charge you. But like it's not a reliable ability. Taunt doesn't work in competitive levels the way people think it does.
Clegane Butcher then. Spread Fear, the new version of Spread Fear, and Weaken Resolve. 2 points.
No, I hated him. I hated him at 2 before, and he's basically not changed. There's nowhere for him to go particularly. Although like Flayed Men are now a better the premier cavalry, I think, for Lannisters. But still, I'm not paying 10 points for it. I'm not paying 10 points for that unit.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay, moving on. The High Sparrow Commander comes with Insight. He is a Cave Dweller Savage, Cave Dweller Alpha, with Embolden.
I had a look at his cards. He's about the only commander I did have a look at. They've toned him down in very, very acceptable ways. I think that I'm still very interested to play Faith Armies. I think that there may be a little bit... He's not so important for a Faith Army anymore, I think. I think that actually Faith Armies can run with other commanders with some success.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see where he shakes out. Very different. It'll be very interesting to see where the NCU commanders, who are now on-field commanders, end up, and if the power was in their abilities or the fact that they were just an NCU.
Yeah. Okay then. We move on to Tywin Lannister, the 6-point version. It is what we saw in the visions. I'm not going to go too much into detail here. Just a very quick recap. Very quick.
6 points is still too expensive for me. I'll give him a 2 myself. I know that people like him. I know that people are like, oh my god, look at this list of menu stuff. For me, it's a 2 because for the same... Here's the thing. I'd rather have a 5-point NCU and buy a 1-point attachment. But I still don't even really want to buy a 1-point attachment. I'll just take the 5-point NCU.
Okay then. We move on to Pycelle for 4 points. We're on to the NCUs now, properly, of course. Pycelle is exactly the same. He's just the same.
Yeah, he's probably at the bottom of the pile of the 4-pointers for me.
Okay. I think
Maybe
he's actually
even
pretty
1.
good. I actually think he's pretty good. Weaken's pretty good in those.
I don't know. I find it so hard. I'm entirely biased by my previous opinion of him being great at 3, but he was 3. That's why I bought him. I didn't buy him because I thought he was the best NCU. I bought him because he was 3.
Fair enough.
And now I'm like, I'm not fucking paying 4 points for him.
I will make some more Carlo mates just for you, Craig. Definitely. So High Sparrow at 4. While influencing an enemy, each time that enemy suffers wounds from paling Pantex target 1 friendly unit in long range. They may restore that many wounds up to 3.
I like him.
I think he's absolutely stupid if red cloaks exist.
Well, I mean, Mickey. Red cloaks exist.
I know. That's why I think he's stupid. Are you
Yeah,
going to give him
I
a
think
4 or 5?
he's 4 or 5 out of 5 there. He's top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's close to auto for me.
Tyrion Lannister, the +1 hand size and +1 refill. And once per game, just grab counterplot wherever it is. Grab a counterplot back for 5 points.
Again, I don't like him enough over the 4 pointers to be willing to pay that point.
Fair enough. What do you reckon? 3, 2?
2.
And Cersei, we've probably talked about Cersei a lot. Gets the Hear Me Roar on the crowns, the Moneybags gives her subjugation, all from the same thing from the Visions. Still rating her quite highly.
Yeah, she's not she's my third NCU. For me, High Sparrow and Joffrey. Then Cersei. But I think the three of them are a nasty combo.
Yep. And obviously moving on to Joffrey Baratheon himself, 4 point man. I think this guy deserves a 5, not because of anything other than the stuff he enables is absolutely off the chain.
Yeah, he's the Lannister combo unlock. Like, you know, you can have your cake and eat it. You know, and on top of the fact that Crown's got worse. Crowns is a bad zone now. Yeah, like, when you took one wound away from the amount of damage that a panic test does, nobody wants that fucking zone, right? So now I can have it not have to take the zone, as well as being able to get letters or money bags or whatever else to enable my cards. He's brilliant. Like, you know, I saw somebody asking, like, is he worth the downside? It's like, oh my god, yes, he's the number one choice in Lannister right now.
Cool. And I believe that finishes off the Lannisters. And believe it or not, we've got 40 people consecutively watching there for a brief moment at the end of the Lannisters. That only took us 40 minutes, Carlo. Are you ready to do some more? Right, you
7 more factions.
quickly summarise. You've got to quickly summarise while I quickly change the slideshow over.
Lannisters for me are the new Starks. And what I mean by that, I don't actually mean necessarily that Lannisters will... The main thing I felt about Starks wasn't just that they won tournaments, but that Starks had incredible internal balance while being at the very top of the power curve of everything. I think that Lannisters are that too now. I don't think you can make a bad Lannister list. You can put anything you want on the board with Lannisters, and you have a good competitive list. Where their actual super competitive ends up being is a big question, but anything you put on the board is going to be powerful.
Cool. We'll move on to Starks next. We are, by the way, going in release order, so if you are a Targaryen or a Greyjoy, well, Greyjoys we're probably not going to cover, as we said, but if you're a Targaryen player, you're in it for the long haul. Yes, we are doing everything in one sitting, bartender. Believe us, we're mental. Right. Starks on Swords, 5 points. We've seen them already. 1 out of 5. No, out of 5. I didn't give them a 1, honest.
Yeah, probably a 1. They got their order has some anti-synergy with their deck. They're an acceptable 5-point unit, but they're nothing by comparison to Lannister Guardsmen when you look across the board at what other people have got. Starks are going to have a rough time when they find out that they used to have everything brilliant. I think they're like a 2 out of 5 now. They're okay. They're not terrible, but...
Yep. Yes, iRobot, appreciate that. And yes, we are clearly, definitely mad. Right.
By the way, Robot, I wouldn't call it a whine, because I'm the Lannister faction master. I fucking love Lannisters. It's just going to be sad times when it's the only thing we talk about for the next 3 months. Every tournament's going to be won by them. Also,
shout out to Rusty, who's still my most favourite person ever to grace these shows, because his name is absolutely fantastic. Still can't get over that. It's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, right, we'll move on to Stark Outriders at 7 points. They come with Swift Retreat, the Ambush special rule, Panicked and Weakened in the flank or rear. 7/4 stat line on a 4+.
They took away some of their raw efficiency. They're probably a 3 out of 5 now. Yeah, let's just call it that.
Cool. Humber Berserkers, we saw these in the visions. They come with 789 stat line with a 4+, 6 move still, which I think is going to be very important. Talk about that later. 5+ armor, 5+ morale with the unyielding and berserker axes +1 to hit for each destroyed ranks. At 6
I think they're
points.
still actually a very efficient unit for 6 points overall. I think they're at the top-ish end of the Stark curve for the points cost. They're not red cloaks, but let's give them a 4. I think you will see them quite a lot. They have a different role, but similar. Starks aren't the same faction anymore. They're good for the new faction.
What's over under on total Carlo F-bombs? Yes. Right. We move on to one of the first wolves, Greywind. So the 3-point wolves plus the attachment costs, which is different. It could be 1, 2, or 0, depending on if you're commander. So we see Greywind here with the 4 dice on 3+, 6 move, 4+ armor, 2+ morale, sundering, and disrupt. I saw this in the visions.
I mean, so Mountain the Reds is 4 points. This is 3, but they're not in the same league, right? Like, so when you think about the fact that you've had to buy an attachment, I do think the Greywind's a tough sell at 3. I don't see dogs being that prevalent anymore. I give him a 3. I'm not saying he shouldn't be 2 points, but I find it hard to buy him at 3.
I think when we look through the dogs as well, he's not going to be the best one. So start Bowman at 6. Look at that stat line: 774 on a 3+ on a 6 point range unit. 543 on the short sword, 6 armor, 7 morale, and the arrow volley, keeping the same arrow volley that they had before. The long range with the ignore line of sight and all orders lost and weakened if you fail the panic. Where is it on these guys?
Did somebody not get the memo that ranged units were getting kicked in the balls? Like, I mean, what happened to this unit? It stayed like exactly the same while everybody else got absolutely battered. They kept their 3+ to hit. They've still got a really impressive attack profile. 774's big.
On 3+.
They're good. They're good.
I personally, for what it's worth, I'm going to defend Lannisters here. I don't know why Lannisters pay for sundering by losing 1 attack dice and losing +1 to hit for sundering. It seems bad. The rerolls are neither here nor there.
Yeah, they can have a 4. They're at the top end of the Starks curve.
Yeah, definitely.
You should use them.
Tullysworn Shields. So the shield wall ability, +1 block for each remaining rank from attack from the front or side or flank. And Stubborn Tenacity. So one enemy engaged suffers 1 wound if they pass a panic test. The old, effectively the old result of Rose Knights. 754 on a 4+. 4+ movement though. 44 movement.
And then 4+ to hit. Yeah. I think that these are the new Stark meta. For me, this is the way Starks are now supposed to play, which is being incredibly resilient and tough. I think that this is, as Starks go, 5 out of 5. I think this is where you got to play at with Starks. You should be fielding at least 1 unit of these guys. They're going to have to at least be looking to play some kind of hammer and anvil tactics, not just everything's a cruise missile tactics.
Yeah. Hey, I've got some hammer and anvil tactics. Yeah, I bought a tactical nuke. Great. Right, anyway, Summer. He is basically identical to Greywind. The obviously only difference there is that he gets Brand Protector instead of Disrupt, making an attack or charge action like we know in the old version of the rule, basically. Better than Greywind, you think?
No, even worse. I never found that Brand's Protector was a big rule before. The unit, he pulls a bit more weight with more wounds and stuff. You may be more willing to get him stuck in, but I think that I'd rather have Disrupt. No, don't like him.
Okay. These wolves are 3 points, by the way. Great Axes, 7 points for Executioner's Fury for sundering and +1 wound from failing panic text and unyielding. 764 stat line on 3+. I'm not even gonna
sell for 7.
I'm not even gonna lie.
You got
These guys suck. in my opinion.
You got to do more. You've got to do more for 7 points, and they don't. They're at the bottom end of a 7 curve.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be too powerful at 6. Like, I actually wouldn't even be raving about this unit at 6 points. So that just tells you like how much I don't want to buy them at 7.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I wanted to shout out somebody did the maths. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been. I was talking with Bartender. I think about it. I don't know if it was Bartender or if it was somebody else who did the maths. Might have been Lockerbie or Charles. I can't remember, but he did the maths on House Umber Great Axes, and it's not good. It actually works out that you're paying a lot of points for very little, which kind of sucks, because the drop off is so insanely bad, and you only get the +1 wound from failing panic tests from the drop off.
Yeah.
It's no. Right.
They're not right.
No. Okay. Moving on. It was Charles. Yeah. The Crownman trackers come with hidden traps. The Scourge, Swift Retreat as well, and they come with the 764 4+ stat line. 6 move, 6 armor, 7 morale. What do you reckon?
They do a bit of everything. They always they actually used to be quite specialized before as like an alpha strike unit. Basically, they were like a ranged alpha strike unit, particularly with an Arya double tap.
Which they don't have anymore.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they're more like pyromancers now, which is that like theory they're good, but the reality on the table is I find that they're mostly dead before they do anything.
Yeah. I also think hidden traps. I'm not going to say hidden traps is completely useless. I think it has space within the meta for the low armor kind of like aggressive type units that you might want to like whittle down a little bit, because actually whittling a couple of wounds off is what's going to get you the kill when you finally do attack. But hidden traps is just not a particularly good ability anymore. It's hits, and hits means that if you've got a 2+, 3+ armor save, you just can ignore the ability, and that is kind of shit, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with Craig. I used to like the unit before. I don't see what it does now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a normal unit now, but I don't think that the game doesn't favor short-ranged
shooting units.
ranged units.
No.
Short-range shooting units have never been a power play in this game.
Yeah. Shaggy Dog then at 3. I think if you're gonna pick a wolf, this is the boy to do it with. He comes with Sundering and Vicious. He's straight up better. And but he loses a special rule, but he gains the Vicious, and he also gains this. Gains +1 attack die for each wound this unit has suffered. In case people aren't aware, Starks have access to Last Stand. I can't remember which commander thing. I think it's Great John. It might be. I can't remember, but they have access to Last Stand, which means Shaggy Dog can die, and he's an 8 attack dice, 3+ to hit, Sundering Vicious. Okay, you've killed Shaggy Dog. That's really good.
Yeah. So obviously he's rolled into the 1 point for Rickon, I believe. Osha's still 0, actually.
Yeah,
after
Osha's
all
free.
the talk. After all the talk about like attachments wouldn't be free anymore, I think their overall combined package coming in at 4 points is still probably very efficient, and I think that this is the dog to buy. They're like a 4 out of 5.
Yep.
Together as a combo.
Tend to agree. Eddard's Honor Guard, so obviously only relevant if you've taken Commander Eddard at 6 points. And they come with Stark Fury! Hooray! It's back! But it's Crit Blown Sundering, like we already saw. And that's about it. They're just slightly better stat line than a Stark Sworn Sword unit.
3+ save, 6 up morale. I think they're no Kingsguard, but at 6 points, that's a good unit. Like if you bought Eddard, then pick these guys up. They're good at 6, in my opinion. It's good that they come down from 7 that they used to be, or whatever it was, but it's it's a pretty decent unit, I think.
Would you take it if you're running Eddard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
That's what you want.
Close enough for what his other alternative viable alternatives are.
I mean,
obviously, all all things have to be compared to those Mama skirmishers, which we haven't actually talked about, but have the most compatibility with Starks, I think. Except that they got rid of
Agile.
I f- they got rid of Agile. It's all Disrupt now, meaning that you can't stack it in the same kind of way. So those Stark shenanigans are out the window.
Yeah, which I'm very glad about, to be honest. So we see the Tully's Cavaliers coming in. They have the new lance. We talked about it. They are, for all intents and purposes, identical to Knights of Castle Rock. The difference is they lose Lannister supremacy and they gain Embolden. They are identical in every other way.
You're flip reverse, which is you're now pretty much the same, but you're in the worst faction. It used to be that Tully Cavaliers were just in a better faction, and that's what made them so good. And now Lannister, Knights of Castle Rock are just in the better faction. All the same things that were wrong with Tully Cavaliers, were wrong with Lance ability on Knights of Castle Rock, are wrong with Tully Cavaliers. Embolden could still be a play, particularly in amongst a full Tully army. Maybe they're worth a 3, just because they're not competing with so many options as the Knights of Castle Rock are. The Flayed Men don't have such instant synergy, so it's not such a direct comparison. But having only very briefly looked at them, I think I'd be taking Hedge Knights over these guys.
Okay, interesting. We'll go on to those later. Okay, the Mormont She-Bears, they were revealed and then, of course, came out in the app. Revealed last week and then came out in the app later on in the week. The She-Bears, for 6 points. 754 and a 4+. The Warcry ability, which we've spoken about before. And Resolute Strikes, Crit Blow, and +1 to hit for each of this unit's destroyed ranks on a 4/6 stat line. Any defense? What do you reckon?
Could be really good, actually. I think they could really play into the new the new Stark synergy of I'm not quite dead, but I'm still dangerous. They're different to the Berserkers. They fill a very similar role. I think we'll basically mostly decide on one being better than the other, and it will get fielded. I don't know which way it goes.
No,
So they're also a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay. And then we move on to the attachments. So we see Robb Stark coming in at number 1. Tactical Reposition, the new shift start of an enemy turn, notice, and Regroup. So after completing a retreat, restore 2 wounds +1 for each destroyed rank. How'd you rate that as a attachment?
Yeah. I assume that Rob's lost a ton of his power from his cards. So it's fine. I can only assume that Rob's probably been over nerfed. We'll see what happens.
We will. Great John Umber with Berserker Tactics, Lash Out, and Last Stand. And he comes with all of this. He comes with Affiliation House Umber, he comes with Reckless Heroism, and he comes with Overrun. This is good. This is good in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that he plays into the new Stark strategy and synergy of they're actually quite a grindy faction now, a very revengey faction, rather than alpha movement speed kind of faction. So yeah, I think that he might be the new Stark go-to.
I like the idea of Great John Umber being like a little bit out of the start on the side park, like scoring some points on an objective, and then like a late turn marching forward to kind of just get a good position, then opening around with like a 12-inch charge with Reckless Heroism into an overrun, like sweeping up the flanks. I like that idea. Certainly with the Berserkers, there's a lot of power behind that. So yeah, cool. The Umber Champion we saw before, the Insight for 1 point. I think Insight for 1 point is absolutely fine. You know?
Yeah. It's just okay. Just fine.
Good.
3 out of 5.
If you can afford it, you'll take it. You know?
Take it, don't take it, do whatever you want.
Yeah. The Sworn Sword Captain gives martial training. We saw this earlier as well. I think the rerolls are good. It's better for the grind style. And you become vulnerable. I don't.
But it has overlapping triggers with their tactics deck, with their Sworn Swords, with their other units. It's a problem.
Which give rerolls as well, some of them. So, like, I don't know why you bother.
Yeah.
Okay. Great John Umber, the 2-point version. He has To the Last and Furious Charge. To confirm, it was agreed kind of last night. I think this is not FAQ'd or errated, but after a lot of long discussion, people do agree that To the Last will actually mean that Great John Umber survives. Because it is the last remaining unit. because there are so many other worded cards that don't make sense if you remove the wound. So the wound is never actually removed, and he'll be the last bit of the unit, you'd assume. Can't imagine you getting 2 attachments in there. So yeah,
maybe worth 2 points. Yeah. I think maybe worth 2 points. I think that ability can really, really be a problem for your opponent, unless your name's Lannisters and you can just be like, you're not gonna fail, you're not gonna pass the morale test, mate. So, yeah, I think that again he's right into the synergy that they're playing for right now, which is just being an absolute nightmare still on their last rank.
Yep, rate him well.
As far as 2 point attachments go, yeah, you can be 3. He can be a 3 out of 5 for now, which is I think a better score than any other 2 point attachment I gave.
Pretty much. So you see 2 point Rob Stark here. He gives Swift Retreat and Enhanced Mobility. What do you reckon?
Nah, not interested.
I am going to straight up overrule you here and see this combination of abilities is very, very strong. It's not the strongest combination of abilities, I think, but I think Swift Retreat is incredible and Enhanced Mobility is incredible. The major difference is I actually don't see what unit he goes in anymore. That's actually the biggest problem.
Yeah, that's not the Stark play style anymore.
Yep.
So that's why he's not good. Not because he's not worth those things, but that's not what I want to do with Starks anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, moving on, we have Brandon Hodor for 2 points. Oh. Can we not talk about Brandon Hodor? Because everyone's fed up with 1.6 Brandon Hodor, but hooray! 1 wound. That's it. 1 wound. None of this D3 hits and all this bollocks. And Hodor, when performing a retreat action after rolling retreat dice, you can have all dice counters rolling a 6, and any enemy disengaged from becomes vulnerable. And if you do, this attachment loses all abilities. That includes the Hodor special rule. Hodor, all of a sudden, becomes, in my opinion, completely crap for 2 points.
Yeah, he's bad. He's bad, and you don't even want his wolf. His wolf's the worst. He's been done dirty. It's classic overcompensation.
But I am glad that we're not going to see them any. I don't think we're going to see much Brandon Hodor.
Scott knows in chat. Like, there's no overruling here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Right. Okay. Brennan Blackfish, the Footfish, as people are calling him, of course. He comes with House Tully affiliation, Stalwart, and Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground is okay for free. Sort of struggle to pay for it. And Stalwart for free as well. It's lackluster. That's the problem. That attachment is very defensive, and it feels lackluster.
Yeah, I think the classic thing was people will like put him in Tully shields, and then be like, "Why does nobody charge me?" Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, I mean, have you seen how many defensive abilities you got? Which in some game modes, if you're sitting on a 2 point objective, brilliant, right? But you're a slow unit, you might not get there. Well, you should be sticking this guy in Berserkers, in She-Bears, something like that. Put him in an aggressive unit to give them an all-round package. I will see. Brendan might actually be the new play for them. Brendan or Great John might be where they're at nowadays. But yeah, it's hard to say off his attachment alone.
Yeah. The 2 point version of himself is Dauntless and Iron Resolve. Dauntless is the restore a wound from a failed panic, or past panic, sorry, and Iron Resolve to make the panics more likely to pass and suffer minus wounds. He adds, I think, a lot of survivability to a unit. But for 2 points, you kind of want that, right?
Still, I mean, that kind of a survivability, I only want to put in a 6 point unit, and none of them, I think, become 8 point units. Always our attachment problem. Starks are just suddenly finding out what it is to be at just the tiniest bit too expensive in every category rather than too cheap in every category, which is like, if you just stick stuff on the board, it's going to be bad. He's a 2 out of 5. He's nothing special.
See, Eddard Commander then comes with Rally Cry, which I think is a very, very strong ability, and Iron Resolve. Iron Resolve again, just talked about it. But Rally Cry, sorry. target one other friendly unit in long range. When you make an attack, it restores 2 wounds. I think this really supports the grind style gameplay because units just will not die.
Yeah, he could be up there as the yeah.
Up there
We'll
in the
see.
mix.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Not competitively speaking though, because I just don't see Starks being competitively speaking up there in the mix. Like that's the thing. But as far as viable choices for the Starks, he might be one of them.
Roderick Cassell, mark target. We know that ability that's existed for a long time, and boldness and courage for the +1 dice or +1 rank.
Is this his commander version? Yeah.
This is his commander version. Yeah.
Yeah, good abilities. Right, if Roderick still has tons of synergy with his own vulnerable, I actually thought he was a brilliant commander. He just happened to not be Rob or Howland.
I think you're going to see him in Bowman because 8 dice Bowman that don't require line of sight that can also put out a vulnerable token. That's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. That's where he actually used to find his home quite often as well, and I think that combo is still there, and that's one of the few things that didn't get absolutely splattered by the nerf hammer.
Yep. The Chronoman Warden, it comes with Overwatch.
This is an interesting one. I think he's a 5. I think he's a incredible control piece, particularly with the fact that Bowman are their best unit. This guy is about the only thing they have going for them in terms of control and threat and just like tempo play and stuff like that. So
what I do like about this as well, just as a quick reminder, Overwatch works at long range and line of sight. If you've got a short range attack, Overwatch still functions. You can still proc Overwatch. The key here, of course, remembering that if they're within 8 inches, you can shift the 2 to get that range attack off. So it isn't useless in other things as well. Like it is actually just as useful to go at 2-point movement for something like the Cranagmans, but I don't think Cranagmans are great. Okay, Mage Mormont for 2, the Kickstarter exclusive. Maybe? Go down fighting and unyielding.
No.
Okay.
Not for 2 points.
Cool. There we go. That was easy. Right. Brendan Tully, the Vanguard Infiltrator. This is not the commander variant. Mark target and outflank. We know what outflank is. We know what mark target is.
No, not for 2 points. Like, again, I'd take outflank for 1 on a unit of cavalry, but I don't want to have to buy mark target for an extra point.
Fair enough. The commander version then. Let's have a look. We've got Sentinel and Elusive Escape. The rerolls and you can't pivot and become weakened. Sentinel's great.
I want to see what happens when people actually really start playing him. Because the big Kickstarter thing and stuff like that. I think he's fair game now. I think that the Kickstarters are fair game now myself. They've had a much needed facelift. They're okay. He's okay. Elusive Escape was always actually a bit of a fuck on in the past to deal with. Yeah, we'll see how the commander variant turns out.
Pandemonium correctly called you out in chat.
Yeah, I know. I make the rules so I can break the rules.
Fair enough. We see Mira Weed at 1 point. I can't talk today. She comes with the hidden traps and Cranagman. So she's basically the same, but with the nerf traps.
Traps got worse. Got worse.
Don't see this being that useful. Jojen Reed with the weird green sight.
Dogs aren't even scared of it anymore. Solos aren't scared of it anymore. They have more wounds. They have everything. Like it does less damage. It only does one
hit to the wolf as well, which is ridiculous. Jojen Reed with the weird Jojen Reed's green sight, which we talked about before. This weird thing where you take one of them if you're a ranged unit, and you always take the other one if you're a melee unit, and then if you
succeed at the first one, you get the other one anyway.
Yeah.
Does he cost 2 points or 1?
2.
Yeah, not for 2. No.
It's just weird. It's just like basically you're paying 2 points to always get rerolls.
I had to ask if it was 2 points or 1 point. Tells you that like I'm not paying 2 points for it. I thought I looked at that and I thought I might buy it for 1. And then you're like 2 points, and I'm like no. No thanks.
We'll move on then. So cereal Pharrell, there you go, can be included with Eddard or Arya now, so it gives a bit of freedom for him for 2
That's not in the
points.
builder.
Precision and agile. He still keeps agile. The only thing in the game, I believe, that kept agile. And precision.
Still not 2 points.
Carlo will never
Still
be
not
happy.
2 points. Maybe no. I don't think that the agile disrupt combo works. Like, I wasn't that scared of it. I just thought it was stupid. No, I'm not interested.
Fair enough. Rickon for 1 valuable captive. Sorry. The +1 to morale test rolls for some reason, and when Rickon is destroyed, your opponent gets 1 victory point.
You're not buying him for a point. You're buying for him and Usher.
And access to Shaggy.
And access to Shaggy. I do think that the 4 points is a good package.
Yeah. So we see Osha now,
Yeah.
and she still has she has different abilities. Sorry, she has stubborn tenacity, which is very similar to the old rules, kind of the way she worked, and Counter Strike combo that we've actually seen on another attachment, I think. So yeah, for 0 points, I think this is obviously fine. Right, you obviously take it if you take Rickon.
Yeah, obviously part of the package.
Notice actually the significant change. No run child. Can't send Rickon away.
Oh wow, yeah.
You go down fighting with Rickon nowadays.
Does Rickon give his VP up when he dies?
Yes,
when
when he dies.
He gets destroyed.
He dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All sorted out.
Cool.
Good.
Mormon veteran for 1 point. The hardened ability.
It might be key to like really nasty, annoying lists. It might be nothing. It could be. It could be the key to Starks being an annoyance. You're still not gonna fight dragons, but like, yeah, it might be the meta that Starks can do, which is they bring one list which is so resilient that lots of people can't get through it, and then another list which does something more maneuvery, is more firepowery, something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. The Crown Survivalist. I am. To just point out, this guy used to do my freaking head in, and anyone watched me play against Deoxys twice in the World Cup qualifiers and the World Cup final. The Crown Survivalist was less important in the finals game actually, but in the it was literally the Crown Survivalist Dervishes unit that soloed my army in the qualifiers, and I'm so glad that those D3 wounds have gone. That was so stupid.
He got 1 point now.
Yeah.
Or still 2.
He still costs.
Yeah,
he costs 1.
He's decent value at 1, but again, I'm not so scared of where he ends up. Maybe maybe he might be a key piece in Starks being annoying, but I'm not super scared of him. I'm not thinking he's a game changer.
Yeah. For Deoxys, obviously, he'll be watching this on repeat. I think he's gone to sleep because he's got a normal life. I am so glad that this is gone. And Deoxys, I hate you. Enjoy the boxes that you won. Anyway, Winterfell Guardian for 1 point. The Dauntless ability, like I said before, and the Stubborn Tenacity. A lot of these abilities are very fucking similar.
It's interesting. It could actually be. This could be annoying in the Tully Cav. I don't think that the Starks have 3 points to throw around anymore, but 1 point is acceptable. And the Tullys have good morale and could turn them into really grinding cavalry when you consider that the Lance isn't important anymore, not as important. So, Guardian might actually see use. I'll give him a 3 out of 5.
It's controversial.
I guess.
That's super controversial.
I'm surprising myself.
Are you actually legitimately telling me that Lance is shit and Tully Cav are not good, but you actually might be taking Tully Cav in your start lists, which you inevitably end up playing in ELO events because they'll be bottom of the pile, right?
Right, okay. No. Let's rephrase that then, right? Okay. Flayed Men, 9 points, could be an absolute nasty grind fest. That's Flayed Men Rose Knights.
Yeah, it is. I agree. That doesn't sound fun. Now you say it like that. You're in shell shock right now, aren't you? Because you've just realised what you've said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. But like the Tullys are there too with their embolden ability, which they give to themselves now.
Yep.
Like they're really heavily into passing their morale tests. They're fast enough to go and meet a combat that they want. I mean, it's still not really like a 9-point package though. Like you got to think that you can deal with it for 9 points. If it was 8, you'd think maybe they could go out and pick their fights and just be grindy. When they're 9, when you have to, I think it's tough buy.
Okay. Moving on to Howland Reed, Commander, with both Double Ambush, Counter Traps, Threat Unseen. Those cards have actually changed quite a lot, although the names are the same. The cards have changed. He comes with Superior Flanking, the Harmer ability, the changed version, with the Panic and the Vulnerable, and Disrupt. Crannogman affiliation.
I think that Howland still looks pretty strong, actually. Yeah, and again, just like High Sparrow, I want to see how much it was Howland and how much it was being an NCU commander. But yeah, I think that Howland's a good shout.
Okay, cool. And then we've got into the NCUs. Finally, we see Caitlin Stark, who is identical. I think she'll be fine.
Fine. She always was fine. She sometimes got picked up, not that commonly, because obviously Sansa was such a go-to. Arya so powerful. There are a lot of good, efficient NCUs for them. She's okay. She'll see.
I think she works in the Grindfest as well because you can remove things like weakened tokens from units already engaged and highest dice rolls. Like, she's gonna be good. I think she's gonna be really good. Sansa, 2 order tokens. She claims a zone. Remove an order token. Return a tactics card from your discard pile to your hand. So remember when Sansa was really good and everyone took her for 3 points, and then someone came along with a big baseball bat and broke her legs and threw her into the Stark army. I don't think new Sansa is that impressive.
1 out of 5. She's bad. She got the shit end of the nerf stick there.
Yeah. See, Eddard at 5. This is Eddard at 5 points. 4 order tokens. It's similar to what he used to do. You can spend an order to re-roll a panic test. You can. So like a friendly unit's panic test. Mm-hmm. And you can also spend an order to restore 2 wounds +1 for each destroyed rank on a past panic test. I think it's okay.
It's okay.
I don't know if I want 5.
At 5.
Yeah.
It's okay at 5. I'd say very, very efficient at 4. I don't think Starks have spare points to throw around anymore.
And I actually think Eddard might be a good commander to run. So.
Yeah. I think he's a hard sell. He's a 3. He's not bad. I'm not saying. I'd say he's really, really good at 4. But he's a classic. He's a classic 4.5 point NCU.
Yeah. Roderick Crossell, the 4-point one. This guy's hilarious. He claims swords. 1 enemy combat becomes vulnerable. And become 2 tokens at the start of any turn. You can remove 1 order from him, and any 1 friendly unit can withdraw. Remove an order token, thus enabling that order again.
I think that's pretty big and pretty important for them, particularly with the Crannogman Warden.
Overwatch.
That your opponent might just it stops your opponent from just being like, all right, well, I'll give him a unit with Overwatch. He'll take it because otherwise he might not get another chance. And then I can move my weaker unit in. It's just like, no, I'll just keep using it. Thanks. Yeah. You know what? Maybe he could always. No. Of course he couldn't always give up the vulnerable and have the other effect. Otherwise, Pycelle would look like the biggest piece of crap you've ever seen. Yeah, the double effect at 4 points. Yeah, I think he's got play.
It's versatility. Versatility is good. I think if you don't have good order usage in your force, I think you don't take him. Simple as that.
No, but they're heavily stacked into orders right now. Yeah. The Starks.
They are. Moving on to Arya for 4 points. She's basically the same. but she's not. So at the start of an enemy turn, target one friendly infantry unit, it then performs one maneuver or retreat. This is actually super important because basically I can see you using this as a retreat action more often. So charging in and then retreating out. You still got that effect. And charging in, doing a lot of damage or whatever, maybe he's getting a kill, maneuvering in front of a unit, then getting a free maneuver at the start of the enemy turn to then go around the flank and go out of arc. I think that's where you're going to see Arya now, to kind of move around the board and create nice tempo.
But say bye bye to your alpha strike. Say bye bye to her real abilities. She's got worse, and she's 4 points. It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. I once per game on that. That's a hard. That's low end of the 4-point curve. She's a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I still think she'll have play. I think you'll still see her, but yeah, I agree. And we see Howland at 5 as well, and he gives -1 to hit on that enemy's attacks on a unit hit the influences, and they treat all terrain as having the hindering and rough keywords. I think that's
that one does
brilliant.
Still combo with other stuff. It's only on the unit that you put it on. I would say no at 5 points, but I've said no to lots of their NCUs, so you might feel he's worth it.
I think he is. Of course, rough and hindering means that they automatically lose any rerolls, but effectively it's -1 movement if they go through any terrain. And -1 to hit, -1 movement, and lose all rerolls with a -1 to the -1 to hit. I think he's actually pretty good. But yeah, I struggle to see how the lists come together. I think for what it's worth, Stark list building is the hardest. So there we go. Yeah. Starks. Do you want to quickly summarize Starks while I get the next faction ready?
They've gone from the easiest faction to build lists with to the hardest. That doesn't mean they're necessarily the weakest or that they necessarily were the strongest, but pretty close. They are pretty close to have gone from top of the pile to the bottom of the pile. I think that they're at the bottom end of the curve of everything. Everything feels too expensive for its cost. Everything feels not quite powerful enough.
Cool. In which case we're on to the third released faction, and we are looking at neutrals. Thankfully this will be shorter because they are smaller. And we see the cutthroats at 5. We've already talked about these.
Plus to hit. It's not worth it.
They get the rerolls, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. I struggle. with these guys. I struggle a lot.
I don't like them anymore.
2 points, 2 out of 5. They might see some play because they're 5 points.
Yeah, 2 out of 5.
Yep.
Yeah, only because you're a neutral unit.
Yep.
Somebody might want you. Like basically, just overdone it on them.
Yeah, I agree. All right then. The Busted Girls, they come with the 4/4/4 stat line on the 3+ and the 6/6/4 on the melee. With the 6 movement, I think is huge. The 6 armor, 5 morale, charging volley still, and tracker's bow auto vulnerable after completing the attack, and vicious on the melee. Good unit for 7 points, I think.
These guys are efficient. These guys used to be like a finesse unit, you know what I mean? Like, do you use them well? Do you use them whatever? There used to be these combos that really took them up to 10 and made them good competitive units. They saw competitive play, and they just got better across the board. Like, loads of things got better while everybody else got made worse. They're way, way efficient now that you don't need to use them in a finesse way. They're not a finesse unit. They're just a raw, efficient unit. They're very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Yep. Okay, cool. We'll move on then. Rating out of 5, go on quickly.
Lockery says 6. I'll call it 5. They're not red cloaks. They're still not red cloaks. I'd still rather have red cloaks for 6. I'd rather have red cloaks for 7 than bastard girls for 7. That's how good. So come on now, Lockery.
I actually think, God forbid, I reckon the first unit that Carlo ever fully paints and fully bases himself for a Song of Ice and Fire
This
He's
is
gonna be red
serious
cloaks.
accusation.
He's going to be red cloaks, I reckon.
I have a full Lannister army and a full Baratheon army painted and based by myself. Thank you.
Didn't Dan base them?
He based one unit and I copied the basing.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'll take that back. I'll take that back. So yeah, red cloaks are going to be like painted by the end of this week, then, aren't they? If they're arriving this week.
I'm hoping to play on Friday. I'm really, or at least at the weekend. I'm really hoping to get out and play some games.
Yep. So
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, luckily, basically, like, if you can unlock, if you've still got an attachment inside your non-neutral faction that can unlock them to take them to 6, then they're 5.5 because you can push them to a 6.
yeah. Alrighty then. So we move on to the House Bolton Flayed Men. They have actually been nerfed since their reveal. 7 dice on the first rank and 4 on the second on the 3+. Still the 3+ armor, still the 6+ morale. Or was it 5? It's now 6. And they go with Warflail, so vicious and charging crit blow, and of course intimidating presence.
The
Still
nerf
good.
is 5 attacks down to 4 attacks.
Yes.
Right? Is that what the nerf is?
It might be. Yeah, it might be 5 down to 4. Was it?
I mean,
Yeah, I think that's right.
I mean, these guys versus like Knights of Castle Rock or Tully Cavaliers is the classic meme of like, the guy she tells you not to worry about. Like these these are Chadzilla cavalry that are just the comparison point for every 8-point unit, every other 8-point unit of cavalry, and they're better than them. They're better than everybody else. Lannisters, particularly, if you can combo that intimidating presence to be powerful for you, then they're amazing. But their value and sustain is through the roof.
Cool. Shout out to the 42 viewers currently watching us. Amazing. I think that's broken our record, I think. So, House Bolton Blackguards, 6. The 654 stat line, which is not, like, terrible fall off. 4+ to hit, though. And the standard kind of like defensive stat lines we see in the 3+, 6+, and 4 movement. Vicious, finally, and horrific Visage, which is pretty cool. Cool, what do you think?
Yeah, new Visage, grabbed Vicious. It was all they needed to just push them from being like fully mediocre into being absolutely okay. They're absolutely fine. They're a 3-point unit. If you want them, take them. They're not game changing. They're a fine command bunker. They're a fine place for all these different things. Use them, don't use them. Doesn't really matter. You've probably got something quite similar yourself, but
I think
they're a good unit now.
They're going to see play. They're going to see play, definitely. The Bloody Mama Skirmishers, obviously very changed from their initial reveal. They lost Agile and they get Disrupt instead, meaning that they are now vulnerable to the ranged attacks. Still keeping Counter-Strike and still keeping the Mama's Blade. 754 stat line on a 4+ with 5 armor and 7 morale. What do you reckon?
They're not as big a thing as like people were making out. Like even than we made out during. Like I feel like when it all shakes out, when it comes to the list building, it's not going to matter. I do think that they're pretty good at the top end of their points category, though. I think they're a 4 out of 5, and I think that they can be a real annoying unit.
Cool. All right then. Moving on. Stormcrow Mercenaries. They still have adaptive.
Meh.
They still have motivated by
Whatever.
coin. They are
Whatever.
basically exactly the same. I don't think they've changed.
Whatever.
I actually will give them a shout out.
5, guys.
I will give these guys a shout out. They've not changed, which means that they're probably pretty good in the new game.
Yeah. Everything else got worse around them. They're a bit more viable. There's some cheaper attachments out there. The attachment game is better now. I did know some, but like it was a niche pick before, like I feel like, and now they're not niche, but they're not changing the game. They're nothing to write home about. 3 out of 5.
All right then. Stormcrow Archers for 6 points. Should we see what makes Carlo's Lannister Guardsman or Lannister Crossbowman cry? That makes Lannister Crossbowman cry. Jesse, big shout out to Jesse, fan of the show. Jesse was concerned about this himself. I think he was talking about like trying to understand why you would take one over the other. I can't remember if it was Jesse somewhere else might be. What do you reckon?
So somebody before, when I said like, oh, range, didn't archers didn't Stark archers get the memo that range units were getting nerfed? If you didn't know, in the leaks, these guys hit on 3+.
Yeah.
So these guys did get nerfed, and they're still strong.
Just showing the adaptive card on the back of Stormcrow Mercenaries because people think they've lost the ability.
Yeah.
It's just on the back, not on the front of the card.
Yeah.
So yes, back to Stormcrow Archers.
They lost adaptive. They're still
They
definitely
did.
worth 6 points. I feel like so you're always going to be able to get 1 to 2 of these abilities if you want them.
Yeah.
I think that if you can make these guys shoot multiple times and can like really build into them, I think that they're pretty powerful. The 4+ to hit hurts. It means that you do want to have swords. You want to take swords. These guys are only these guys are only like a 3 out of 5, maybe a 4 out of 5. But what the problem is that they're just straight up better than the crossbowmen. Like in every single metric, they're identical or better at every single thing.
I agree. Because you're going to have some control on the board, and if you get the rerolls from like if the free swords attack, you've got rerolls. You don't have sundering, but you've got rerolls at long range with 1 more dice, standardly at max ranks. That's better. If you get to take money bags, you get the sundering. That's great. And if you get letters, which is unlikely that you'll get all 3 of those zones, you're fine.
But it puts some pressure on your opponent to take a zone that they don't want to take at times and stuff like that. I do actually think that there's possibly some play with Unsullied Officers, or even with Night's Watch, Captain.
They're not a Night's Watch unit, so you don't get all the benefits of those vows, those lovely, lovely duty vows.
True.
All right then, Bloody Mama's Horse Riders. These have taken another hit themselves. Quite a lot of hits, actually. They were on 7-5 on the attack profile, dropping to 6-4. The Motley Arms now, they do not gain 1 bonus automatically. They gain 1 for flank and 2 for the rear. For the +1 and crit and lose all abilities. And Elusive Escape. Retreating means weakened and not pivot. I think these guys are worse. 7 points, unfortunately. I think they went from being really good to being movement 6
The problem
cavalry
was that they were everybody's answer to a lot of things, and now they're everybody's answer to nothing. Like, I don't want them.
You'll take them if you can't afford an 8-point cavalry unit, but you haven't looked at all of the neutral stuff yet.
Yeah, they'll fill the same role that they used to fill, which is that maybe you pick them up in Baratheons if you would need a cheap cav because you haven't got a better choice. But Champions of the Stag are well cheap now, so like.
Moving on to Stormcrows then. Stormcrow Dervishes. Ambush to strike motivated by coin. They're basically the same.
Which means that they're powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a harsh unit. Can't play Tyrion, Preston Grenfield, one-shot machine anymore. But they're a totally fine unit. They're like a 4 out of 5. Like if you've got something to go with them, if you got an attack, they're an okay place for it. They get a lot of efficiency. They're an all-rounder, aggressive, maneuverable, 6 movement. I've always liked them.
Yep. I definitely think from my testing, believe it or not, that this is a unit that Starks are still gonna like. I think Vargo Hote likes this unit as well, of all things. See if that goes. Vargo Hote in these guys, I think, is how you build a neutral Vargo Hote list.
By the way, I'm actually talking about neutrals in everybody else's lists. Neutrals still just aren't a faction. Like, they're not viable. I only thought of it because you brought up putting a neutral attachment in a neutral unit, and I just thought, wait, somebody actually fielding a neutral army here?
I'm pretty sure Tom Tyler, our friend Winter is coming, Tom Tyler, he'll be absolutely shaking his fist at you in rage, saying, yes, neutrals are still a thing, I will prove it! And he will prove that neutrals are still viable in some sense. Hedge Knights, 7 points. The new boys on the block. They finally got revealed in the patch as well. 7-4. We saw that on the Zorse Riders. 5 movement. Okay. No, 7-6-4 on the Zorse Riders. Wow. Oof. 5 movement for the Hedge Knights. And they've got Knight's Blade. So they're not Lance Cavalry. They're just kind of like medium cavalry, I think you'd call them. Sundering and controlling swords, they get vulnerable. And they've got loyalty through coin for +1 defense and +1 morale if you control bags.
These guys are better than most people's land. Like these guys are better than Knights of Castle Rock. They're better than Knights of Castle Rock. They're better than Zorse Riders. They're better than Tully Cavaliers.
If you want them to be, if you really want them to be, they can be. Yeah, I agree.
And 8. Well, okay, distinctly right. If you're gonna pay 8 points, you can have 1 point attachment, and they're definitely better than all those things.
Yes, completely agree.
Okay, they're 4-up save, but they're way more aggressive. They're way more aggressive.
I like these. Out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. They're no flayed men, who I think are an absolute nightmare at 8, but these guys at 7 are very viable.
Cool. So we move on to the attachments. We're on to the Dreadfort Captain. Prey on Fear, 1 point.
Don't care. 3 out of 5.
Ramsay Snow, Commander. Affiliation Help Bolton, which you'd hope, and Horrific Visage.
Interesting. Horrific Visage is actually a powerful ability, and I think that he may see some play in some other armies.
I would really like to see Ramsay in Mummers, because it's a unit you can literally never attack with anything but ranged. Because it's just too much of a pain in the ass to remove, and you just sit there with a 6-point unit scoring 2 points a turn. Done. Easy. Game over. Next up on the list, Ramsay 2-point attachment with the House Bolton ability or affiliation with Fueled by Slaughter and Intimidating Presence. 2 very good combo pieces, I think, that work really well together. And Fueled by Slaughter is a very good ability in the new meta. What do you think?
He's decent at that. He would be brilliant if he still had his free Theon Reek, but he doesn't. He can be 3 out of 5 because it's still a hard sell at 2 points.
Yeah. Okay. It also doesn't matter that he brings Bolton as well, because you only have Roos as your other option. We obviously have Theon for 1 point, and he is the everyone becomes panicked. Sometimes I die.
I'm 6 now. Everybody within short range instead of 1 unit within long range. I actually preferred old Theon myself. I'd rather put panic where I needed it at a longer range before I charge. Though, if I have to ask myself how often do I charge a unit that's not 6 inches away from me? not that often.
Fair enough. Moving on, we've got Brienne at 2 with the Knightly Vow Stalwart. She's basically the same. Knightly Vow has changed. When it's after deployment, here's a thing. After deployment, which is very good. When attacking or charging that enemy, this unit's melee attack +1 to hit and reroll any charge distance dice. So more likely to get into combat. It's not as good, it's not as powerful as effect, but I like that you choose it after deployment and it's still relevant.
She's okay. She can have 3. It's like a 2-point package, but I can't justify it unless you're going to change the game. She might. Knightly Vow could maybe, but without the +2 attacks. It used to give +2 attacks and +1 to hit, right?
Yeah.
It used to push you loads of units into just this is absolute one-shot range, but I don't think the +1 to hit is going to push units into the one-shot range.
That's fair enough. That is absolutely fair. Right then. Moving on. Bronn for a point.
Yes. In every army, yes.
Why? Why is that? Go on, tell me why this is.
It's super powerful in ranged units, and it's unreasonable. It's unreasonable at 1 point. I think that he has viability in ranged units and viability in melee units. and +1 defense and +1 morale is powerful. Motivated by coin. Given to a ranged unit is a bit ridiculous. Given to a Stormcrow Archer unit is absolutely obscene. Because that's what they want. They just want to be able to get multiple abilities and attack multiple times a turn.
Yep.
Bruce says, "Do I know that they changed the game right?"
I think they were on your rating of Brienne. I think he disagrees.
Okay.
There you go. Simple as that.
If you want.
So yeah,
Bronze of 5.
Bronze of 5. There we go. Craig calls it. Bottom Flare for 1. The spread fear ability with the panic test for -1 for each rank and +1 wound. I know what you're gonna say.
5 in a red cloak.
Yep. 5 in a red cloak because you charge, and then they fail a panic test if you attack them, or if you do any wounds and they fail a panic test after the attack, and then you pop the order, and something else does a long range with the same kind of effect. It's nuts, right?
He's thoroughly mediocre, actually. He's a 3. It's fine, you know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes, War Room, we're discussing every change, but very quickly. Vargo Hote, he has Threaten, same as Tywin Lannister Commander version. Bloody Mama's Affiliation, as you expect. And Sadistic Mutilation, which, by the way, is just the coolest thing in the world as a name. But I do think it's perhaps problematic. After it completes a melee attack, expend a weaken token from the defender. If you do, destroy 1 infantry attachment in that unit. It's a non
auto killing other attachments is harsh.
Yeah.
Is he the commander variant?
This is the commander variant, yeah. The non-commander variant will come to in a second, I think.
I don't know whether or not he's game changing enough that I see him outside of neutrals that significantly, but I think maybe so. I think in the game modes where there are 3 objectives across the center of the map, where you still score 2 VPs a turn if you control it with your commander, I think that is when the assassinate of attachments becomes incredibly important, and I think that he might have quite a big place in the 2NC in the 2 list format in one of the lists.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of factions.
I'll tell you what he does have, which is what is kind of scary. He has Careless Aggression, which is a start of round 1 friendly combat unit can perform an attack action. Okay, the enemy then gets to activate an NCU. You could give them like a double activation, but that's kind of scary.
It can be game changing when used right.
So that's Vargo Hote. Vargo Hote the Crippler then, the 2-point attachment variant, comes with Sadistic Mutilation. You have exactly the same rule there. It comes with Vicious as well, and it also comes with Weaken Resolve. You fail a panic test, they become weakened. This is the 2-point attachment. That is a lot of things for 2 points.
Yeah. I think he's a 4 as far as 2-point attachment goes. He's very, very up at the top of the end of things. You can guarantee now that your opponent will have an on-field commander. They must have an attachment. Whether or not you can manipulate it to be in combat with that attachment and kill them is a different thing. But just because of the way scoring works, I think that he could bring back his 2 points. If I can score a VP, or more importantly, deny you just 1 VP for 2 points, that's 2 points well spent.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. You've got 40 points to spend. If you could deny a VP for 2 points, do that 5 times. You've denied 5 VPs. The other 30 points of your army is going to win.
Yeah.
Not that simple, but if you can just get rid of 1 VP on 1 turn, then it's enough. And if you kill somebody early, then that's a total game changer.
Agreed. Right, moving on. Dario Naharis, Stormcrow Captain, comes with obviously Affiliation Stormcrow and Improve Armaments and Motivated by Coin.
This guy scores 1 out of 5 because he also has a Targaryen variant with an identical name and different number of tactics cards and different rules, and that's the worst fucking thing they've done. the best thing that they ever did was have a good naming convention where every single attachment in the game had a unique name, and now they have 2 attachments with identical first name, identical second name, and different rules. And for that, 1 out of 5. I'm not happy.
He says that because anyone who was around Friday night will know that Dario Naharis was proving a very difficult thing for Carlo to code. And he got very upset very quickly and got very angry. And
But yeah, that's what the War Council guy said as well. Why didn't anybody on War Council say, just give him a different name?
Yeah, I know, right? So, what do you actually think of him aside from that?
He's a 1 out of 5. No, I don't know. He's fine. He's fine. He always was fine. He lost his forced march, as far as I know.
Yeah, he did.
So I felt like that was his best card. That's why I took Dario. That's why I liked Dario in like non-maneuverable factions. Considered him in Renly side Baratheons, and even thought about him on Lannisters. Sometimes never did actually play him because they had good choices. But I feel like he lost his unique selling point, which was giving huge maneuverability to armies that didn't have it before. So I'm sort of a mediocre about it.
Cool. 1 point from Bartender in chat as well for super annoying for the TTS imports and for his all of his hard work on the TTS mod. Cool. Moving on, the 1 point version of Dario. The Reckless Mercenary comes with Reckless Strikes, which is basically one of his cards, but you get it all the time. Triplo Precision.
I'd buy that for a point. I call him a 4 out of 5. I think if you're still gonna try and kill people, new precision's really powerful. Crit blow on top. They don't combo together, otherwise it would have been obscene. You know, that for 1 point would be absolutely through the roof. If you have a unit that wants those 2 keywords, i.e. doesn't currently have those 2 keywords, and has a good pool of dice, he's a great buy. Don't worry about the ones that you're gonna kill yourself. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving on. We have got Jaqen H'ghar, 1 point, with taking a new name. Start of a friendly turn, destroy this model and replace it with 1 destroyed infantry attachment. That attachment gains the order, taking a new name. It counts as already having been used this round. So basically, Jaqen pretends he's other people and stays Jaqen.
And yeah, I can still keep doing it. I've not seen him at all, actually. That's interesting. Maybe. I think it's a bit trolley. I don't think it's full competitive play. But you know what? Casual play, like that's a great thing. That's gonna play enjoyable games and love just robbing each other's attachments.
Do you not want to watch Captain or Victorian Greyjoy for 1 point?
Yeah, but you got to kill him first.
Fine. If you're Night's Watch, you can kill him first, can't you, and get a second one? Yeah, I think this is fine, but I do think. Well, I mean, what I like about this is I think this can stay competitive, depending on the meta that we see in the lists that come about, because the options to create cool combos are there. And yes, we're only 3 factions through 8. Carlo.
He costs 1 point, Lockerbie.
He does cost 1, which is insane. So pretty good, but also could be complete meme. Just fun.
Yeah, he's kind of memey, but like actually like good meme.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Stormcrow Lieutenant, he's changed to just the Sundering and highest attack roll, which actually it could be more than 1 dice, so he actually has kind of like gained value, just not on those higher attack dice. What do you think?
Fully mediocre. He's a 3 out, maybe even a 2. Maybe even 2, because it requires the control before you get any rules of money bags, which is a non-aggressive ability. Yeah, I think that actually people raved about him when he first came out way ages ago, but the game's moved on. There's so many better options out there now.
Cool. Okay, moving on. Roose Bolton Commander. We see Spread Fear, Affiliation House Bolton, and Intimidating Presence. Spread Fear we talked about for a point was kind of like okay, maybe. Presence on the commander as well. I think this is completely fine as a commander, just attachment.
I mean, do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah?
This is actually what goes to Red Cloaks.
Yep, because he's free. Yeah.
This commander with Red Cloaks is blowing the game wide open.
Yeah. case you aren't aware, he uses condition tokens, and when enemy units fail panic tests, some stuff happens. Things happen. So yeah, it's
I
pretty.
think people are going to fail panic tests quite a lot around Red Cloaks.
Yeah, they probably are. Especially in the Lancer deck. Right then, moving on. The Fortune Seeker of the new attachments. The Fortune Seeker arrives. Carlo, you've got a bit of a bone to pick with this, haven't you? Before we move on to the rules.
Do I?
Did they pull? They pulled a sneaky one on us and did us a Dothraki veteran moment, didn't they?
Well, I mean, they got two. It comes in with 2 of each variant, right? Inside the box. Is that what they're doing?
I don't know. I actually think it comes with 4 sculpts.
Yeah. So it's got 4 different sculpts and 2 cards say I'm a Fortune Seeker and 2 cards say I'm a Glory Seeker, which is exactly what they did with the Screamer Co and the Outrider Co.
Which is fine, but it kind of sucks.
I think that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're selling it like I'm annoyed by it. I think that's the perfect idea. I get 4 attachments and I get a box for that stuff. I think it's a tiny bit different with the Targaryen starter because you feel like you got robbed because everybody else got attachments.
Well, you can't
got
run an
unit.
attachment. You can't run an attachment if you want to take the unit. That's actually the problem. Right. Okay.
But you can put your own attachment inside your own unit and you're fine.
Yeah. So the Fortune Seeker for Dauntless and Motivated by Coin. We've seen this rule a hell of a lot.
Yes, I mean, hello grind. I think that this is powerful. Spoiler for in 6 hours' time when we get to Baratheons. I think that him in Champions of the Stag is pretty nasty combo. Him in Flayed Men, if you got a point, he's like a 3 or maybe 3.5, 4 out of 5. Like if you're looking for grinding cavalry, then he really does push them up. That Motivated by Coin can help you put out some hurt, but really you're there for the Dauntlets.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I would like to see these painted up in different heraldry. I think that's the actual most awesome thing about them. The Glory Seeker then, the alternative attachment, you get the Rally Cry ability, which we said earlier, pretty good. Rally Cry for a point.
Nah, I prefer Fortune Seeker.
That's fair.
Which means that you're in direct exact competition with each other. So for me, it's Glory Seeker.
Okay.
It's the Fortune Seeker.
That's fair enough. Peter Baelish then, onto the NCUs. 4 points. It's the same thing. He's identical, but once per game, at the start of any turn, you can select a zone. Until the end of the round, you count as controlling that zone.
Pretty decent. He was okay before. Some people raved about him. I wasn't. I never cared about him. But the once per game just pushes that little bit of extra, and I think in the current state of play, that's completely the wrong wording. In 1.6, in the old state of the game, there were only 2 rounds that ever really mattered, or sometimes only 1 round that ever really mattered in determining the game. And so once per game effects that you can do at any given time can have a huge impact on the game in that way. That's why things like Tywin Lannister used to be incredibly powerful and why he might still be okay at 6 points. I think Petter's pretty strong. I'd give him a 4 out of 5. I'd see him in a lot of other neutral lists. Sorry, a lot of other factions.
Awesome. So, we'll move on then. We'll look to Varys, who has received a change, which, as far as... What was it we talked about the other day? Is this the 10th or 11th?
Change on every single possible opportunity that a card can change? Varys has changed?
Yeah, this is like the 10th or 11th publicly known Varys change, never mind all the playtesting ones. So 5-point Varys, he's the same as the 4-point variant was. I think straight away this has moved him from being the best 4-point NCU to being meh, okay.
Absolutely meh at 5. You know what? Which is good. It's better.
I prefer
that. That's better. Way better that he's meh at 5 and not many people use him than everybody's pissed off that he's 4 points and he's everywhere.
Yep.
He's a tiny bit under curve, I think, at 5.
Which I think is fine. I think we need, to
Yeah.
be honest, we need a game right now where there's not much Varys going on. I'm fed up of hearing the
Yeah.
name Varys. Simple as that.
Exactly.
All right. We see the High Sentinel at 0 points. He's been changed into the new game. Just a quick reminder that history is always written by the victors. So you cannot be activated anyway, cannot be targeted anyway. He merely observes the battlefield. Reminder here, no opponent can refute or deny any retelling of said events until such a time where they best the victor in a new game. Carlo, how do you think this stacks up? Is he going to be in your lists?
I've never really had the balls or the need to have to lie about what happened in a game myself. So yeah, I mean, my history already tells itself.
I'll be using him. 5 out of 10. Jack and Hagar, 5 points. He's on from 4 again. Changed from 4 to 5. I think this is a good ability. Gaining precision for infantry on a stick. But the ability to copy and influence can be very good depending on where the game goes.
Maybe. I haven't seen an influence ability that I care hugely about yet. You know, like High Sparrow is probably the best one I've seen so far. And I don't want to buy it for 5 points myself.
Yep.
You know.
You're right. Those rules not in the builder. The High Sentinel is not in the builder. Carlo chose not to program him into the builder because he doesn't believe that tournament games should be decided by that, and also because Carlo is sore loser, so he doesn't like people lording it over.
We never did look at Maim Jamie or the Turncoat.
We didn't. I forgot to load them up because they were not in the same file. Whoops. Oh well.
Right.
Sodom. They're actually pretty good. Check out Maim Jamie and the Turncoat for Lannisters. They're actually fairly good, both of them now. Definitely have a look at them. Worth a watch.
And Lannisters are one of the few factions that have some points to play with because of their really cheap poor fellows and mountain that rides.
Yeah, 100% look at them. They're really good. Tycho for 4 is exactly the same.
Absolutely fine. He was fine before. He's fine now. 3 out of 5.
Walder Frey, we know this change. He's gone from 5 down to 4, but he's gained this kind of new weird kind of like I can do whatever I want, but I have to go last.
I hate it. 2 out of 5.
I can see this being played. I think a lot of people play this. I think a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's amazing." Yeah, we'll see.
It's a very weird enforced. You're effectively forcing yourself to play one activation below what you really are because basically the tactics board, generally speaking, always fills up first, and then you're forced to make a move on the board even if you don't want to, and then your opponent can start to react to it. I don't think it's a good look.
Roose Bolton coming up next with the horrific rumors. This guy actually is quite popular by quite a few people. 3 tokens, just remove a token, 1 enemy becomes panicked when he activates, and you can just do a panic test on a thing.
Solid. 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. Yeah,
The-
if you panic based, then it seems like Lannisters are just like get the pick and choose whatever they want from like combos, but they've got too many options. Like you can't fit all these 4-pointers in. You wish you could have them all, but you can't. So if you want to be more aggressive, take Roose over your High Sparrow maybe.
In answer to your question, Bob, is Mountain the Rides tournament legal? Completely dependent on the TO. It always has been that way. I think online tournaments, it would be ridiculous not to have him legal. Myself and Carlo, we've been talking a little bit about tournaments and stuff, mainly because he's less likely to be running tournaments this time round. It will instead be other people, just because he's going to be so busy. And Mountain Rides, as far as we're concerned, is TTS legal and will almost certainly be physically legal the moment Lancer of Heroes Box 3 comes out. So, it's only around the corner, I'm led to believe. All right, that brings us to the end of Neutrals. We're only 2 hours into the thing, and we've only done 3 factions. Jesus.
Nailing it.
Christ.
Nailing it. We're pretty much on 15 minutes of faction at this rate. And to Bob, just because neutrals aren't even worth talking about while Mickey finds out the next faction. I mean, all I'd ask Bob is, are most units even retail available? If we went by what's actually retail available to most people, then I think half of all units would be banned. Most things are not very easy to get hold of. Mountain the Rides is one of the few things that anybody who wants to can buy, really, in my opinion, because people are always selling him.
Yeah, John, as of this update, I'm making them legal. Yeah, agree. Clegane Butcher, I think, is a fine proxy stand-in model for them while we wait for him to be released. I think that's something we've talked about a lot before. Right, okay, are we ready? We're going to go through Night's Watch as the fastest faction, because if anyone hasn't seen Night's Watch, you haven't seen our reaction before, basically Carlo's just going to be like OMGing the whole way through this. Are we ready? Veterans for 7. Counter-Strike Disrupt, 765 on a 3+, with 4+ armor and a 5+ morale.
4 out of 5. Pretty good.
Sworn Brothers for
Nasty.
7 points. Martial Training, seen that before. Great Sword with Sundering, 754, 3+, 4+ armor, 5+ morale.
2 out of 5, not as good as Veterans in every case.
Ranger Trackers at 7. Mark Target with Vulnerable, long range, the Pathfinder, and short range attack with 7.5, melee attack with 6.4, 5+ armor, 5+ morale.
2 out of 5. Why did they go to 7 points?
Ghost for 3 points. Direwolf with True Bond, and same as stats as all the other wolves we saw in Starks earlier. True Bond, he treats any friendly tactics cards attached to Jon Snow's unit as also attached to him, and when Jon Snow's unit activates, this unit may activate after that unit. Carlo.
Pretty strong, but situational. 3.
3. Okay. Ranger Hunters at 7. Quick Fire, Swift Strike with the 7.54 on the ranged and a 7.54 on the melee. 3+ to hit, 6 movement, 5+ armor, 5+ morale.
Pretty nasty. 4+.
Okay, and the Builder Scorpion crew at 5 points, still limited by 2, and let's look at this. We've got a long range at 3+ to hit, 2 dice. The weapon crew with a 3 dice, 4+ to hit, 5 armor, 2+ morale. He has the War Machine ability still, and the Bolt Throw ability with Vicious. He measures range and line of sight from any part of the unit's tray, so that's 360 vision. Suffer -3 to hit to ignore line of sight and gain unlimited range. That is a 6+ to hit with 2 dice. Defenders do not get defensive rolls, and for each unblocked hit, Cavalry, Monster, and War Machine units suffer 2 wounds. Jesus, there's a lot on there.
I don't know. 5 points. Really cheap, really different effect. I think I'll call it a 3 for now. Very different. They're actually at the cheap end of your list. Very big change in the way that they are fielded. They're not the special unit anymore. They're actually a filler unit for your more special combat units.
They don't do a single thing against infantry, and yet they absolutely wreck monsters. In case anyone wonders, the giant thing, yeah, it does 2 hits, which means that it gets turned to 4 wounds. There's a whole debate about why that is, but it is that way. There's still 2 unblocked hits that were generated. Both rules apply. 4 wounds is what.
Yeah, the 360-degree shot's probably, it's a 4.
Yeah.
Plus you can go long range for 6s, so you're actually putting pressure on right from the start. So
good against dragons, thematically.
Yeah.
All right, the Builder Stone Thrower at 8 points, limited 2 stone throwers. 1 movement, lol. Rock Volley, 2 dice on a 4+. Weapon Crews, 3 dice on a 4+. 5+ armor, 2+ morale. War Machine rules, like we said, and the Rock Volley cannot attack solo units, same as before. Attack enemies regardless of range and line of sight. And if this attack generates any hits, instead of rolling defense dice, the defender suffers 1 wound plus 1 wound for each remaining rank. Innate ability cannot be lost.
So I mean, like you got like a 75% chance to hit with one of your 2 things to then do like a rank's worth of damage when your opponent's at full health. And no, I don't think it's enough. Not for 8 points.
It does proc the panic, though, of course, which it could be dangerous.
Yeah, it always did in the past, though. I don't know. I don't think it's enough. Not for 8 points. Not when you consider all the range of things that they can buy for 7. And that the Scorpion for 5 points puts some pressure on your opponent to come forward because they're just going to roll some 6s anyway and kind of pop them.
Okay, fair enough. Builder Crossman at 7. We've got the 664 on a 3+, so it has been nerfed slightly down from 774, and Short Sword 543 at a 4+, 5+ armor, 5+ morale, 5 movement. The crossbow rules, so sundering and reroll at short range, and ready aim release. Charging from the front, they can perform a range attack action.
5.
Yep.
Can I just check actually? Stone Thrower, does it still have the rule that it can only fire once a turn?
No.
Okay. I reassess to slightly better.
Cool.
Just being able to take swords and do that twice, is way, way more reliable, consistent than I thought it was. Yeah.
Especially with Vargo, where you can do that thing where you make a free attack at the start of the round. Anyway.
Yeah, everybody in chat's just told me,
Yeah.
that you can attack more than once. Yeah, so yeah, huge change.
Conscripts at 4 points still. They come with supply aid, so suffer 3 wounds, restore +1, 1 plus that many wounds, sorry, to a friendly unit within long range. Disorganized, the new rule for kind of like extra wounds on fail and panics. 6/5/4 on 4 plus, 5 plus morale, 5 plus armor, 7 plus morale. No longer insignificant.
5 out of 5. I still think that they're very key list building mechanic, and the supply aid is a huge rule.
We were talking about it last night with Corin on the Discord, Yalric as he goes by, talking about how you can use sacrifice plays and things like this to make conscripts generate a lot of free actions with Night's Watch. Watch Marshals for 4.
Can I just check? Can I use supply aid, take 0 wounds, and just give 1 wound to somebody?
Yes.
Right. So it's a free wound for another
This
unit.
is up to 3 wounds. You could up to 3 is 0 is up to 3, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely 5. 5 out of 5.
Yep.
Definitely 1 to 2 of them in every list.
Watch Marshals for 4. Tactical reposition, so a friendly unit within short range makes a 3-inch shift at the start of an enemy turn. 6 movement, 4 plus, 3 plus morale, 3 plus, 3 dice on 3 plus. And it still gives the +1 attack dice on melee attacks in range.
He got done hard. He went from 3 to 4, and he lost the full maneuver, and it became a shift. It's all in line with other stuff, but he's down to like a 3 out of 5 now for me.
Yeah. For 4 points, he seems very expensive.
Yeah, I'd rather have the conscripts.
Yeah. We move on to the attachments. Hooray! So dual moment we saw before, long time ago, Dauntless and Embolden. Lots of morale.
Don't know. Don't know about their commanders. I feel like they've got better. I feel like they've got better options than Jaya.
Okay. We got Jon Snow, Boldness and Courage and Rally Cry.
Yes, I think that he's a bit nasty. Bit nasty.
I am not gonna lie. I think Jon Snow is slightly ridiculous. Check out his commander cards; they are kind of stupid.
Do any of the playtesters like Jon Snow?
I don't know any playtesters who playtested for this version of the game have any affiliation with Jon Snow or Night's Watch in general. None of that is true. Now, it's obviously a meme. We know Brett is not responsible for these changes. He's just one playtester in a mountain of others. So, 2-point Jon Snow attachment comes with Reckless Heroism and Warcry. Completely different take on the 2-point attachment.
Yeah. 2-point attachment. It's still only going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Watch Captain for 3.
5, 6. Game breaking.
Yeah. Relentless and Boldness and Courage, which is a ridiculous combo of abilities. Relentless is just good. Boldness and Courage is stupid to have on it as well.
I saw some people discussing it today. I think it was on Sunday Slaughter or maybe even Small Council Radio Discord. It would be absolutely like, why isn't it on a named character that just make like one of Dauntless Relentless is kind of acceptable, but just like being able to have it multiple times is a bit ridiculous.
All right then, moving on. The Watch Recruiter. Personally, one of my favourite new attachments. 1 point for Insight for Vicious and Attack dice, and Reinforcements. Each time this unit activates, it restores 1 wound. If you control crowns, restore +1 wound.
That's a pretty nasty combo for 1 point when you consider that everybody else is paying 1 point for Insight alone, right?
Yeah, everyone else is paying 1 point for Insight, and this is an unnamed attachment that gets both.
4 or maybe even 5, but only because can you fit him in? If you can, fit him in. 5 maybe.
Alistair Thorne, the Commander variant. We see Vicious and Prey on Fear. Nice combo. They combo well with each other. They're a nice package. I think Alistair Thorne has probably lost.
Wanted Alistair to work, but never did have him work.
Yeah.
It never did quite go right for me. So.
Yeah. All right then. The 1 point version of Alistair Thorne gives Iron Resolve and Stubborn Tenacity. A nice little combo with Iron Resolve there.
That's great efficiency for 1 point. 4 out of 5.
Donald Noy, the commander, comes with Shield Wall. We saw that on the Tully Sworn Shields. And Improve Armaments, something we saw on Dario.
No, does he not get set for charge?
He doesn't get set for charge anymore. Aren't we glad that one disappeared?
1 out of 5. Big nerf. Unlucky. Unlucky bald man.
Yeah. Shield Wall's
okay. He's completely average now. it was an obscene broken combo, and I'm glad that they listened to the community. You know.
Gren for a point. Gren completely changing his entire purpose in life. He now has taunt.
Crap one.
Yeah.
I hate taunt.
I know. So do I. Piper. Piper can only be added to a unit containing Gren. No, actually.
No.
May
May.
Which is fair enough.
You can have Gren and Pippa, or
Yeah.
Gren or Pippa.
And he comes with Swift Retreat. Which, sad for you because you
Nah,
love to
not
nibble.
interested.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I think you like it, but I'm not interested. 3 out of 5. Pippa's better than Gren.
This is a very, very good rule, but not for anything in Night's Watch really want. Okay, Corrin half hand for 2 points. We see Order to the Last and go down fighting.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. This guy is nasty.
Yeah.
To the Last seems like a big deal.
It does, especially
Particularly
in
in
Night's
Night's
Watch.
Watch.
Yeah.
Especially in Night's Watch.
It's really scary, especially when you combine it with Jon Snow Commander. Honestly, ridiculous. Right.
Yeah, and luckily he is an exact copy, and I'm pretty sure I gave that version a 2, but only because you had morale manipulation.
And a load of stuff that like set for charge and things like that.
All right, Bruce, shall we taunt somebody and then run away and only pay 2 points for it? Like what? Like it's not good. It's not worth 2 points.
So, Offal Yarwick for 1 point. The Spotter gives improved defenses, +1 to defense dice, which is nice. And Spotter, reroll any War Machine attacks if they're within long range of the enemy.
If you're gonna run a War Machine, then I think that's pretty good efficiency. That makes your Stone Thrower really hitting all the time. Can bring a lot of stuff to you. So yeah, let's call him a 4.
Let's go on 4. He still comes with the modifications, and it's still stake mounting. So D3 +1 wounds before the attacker performs a melee attack action on the Scorpion mod.
I'm
After a
assuming the other one's still the same, in which case I much prefer the other one. So this one's like a 3 out of 5.
And we see Father Christmas is here, Carlo's favourite fat man, Senor!
El Senor Builder.
El Senor Builder. Improved defenses as well, and stake building. It's still here. Stake building is still here.
Yeah, for 1 point. And he got given improved defenses. What an absolute lad. 4 out of 5.
Yes, boys. Hardened Ranger, Furious Charge, and Elusive Escape. So vulnerable on charge and weakened when he gets to make a retreat and not pivot. I think this clearly combos really well with the Ranger Hunters.
Yeah, he went down to 1 point, which makes him completely acceptable. We'll call it a 4. It's great efficiency, but yeah, it's just efficient. Couple of good rules.
The 1 point Watch Marshal comes with adaptive planning, target one combat in long range, replace one condition with any other, and swift retreat.
Nowhere near what it was. He used to be really powerful, really game changing. I mean, I can't really think of a unit that I want to put him in now because I don't really want to buy the Ranger Trackers. So I guess he's a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, okay. Moving on. Scorpion mod for the builder. He comes with Overwatch. Anytime. Yeah. The question at the moment.
The single shot from the Scorpion mod isn't as powerful anymore, so maybe we'll call it a 4. And it's a 4 to 5, a 5 to 6 transition rather than a 7 to 8, so it's a bigger percentage buy-in. But I still think that Overwatch is an incredibly important ability for zonal control, range control.
Against dragons.
Yeah.
There is a question whether or not the Overwatch mod allows because of the 360-degree arc of the Scorpion modifier, effectively allows Overwatch in a 360-degree arc around it. No is the moral of the story, because the line of sight of the model is still the front arc.
Yeah.
But it does bring an interesting debate.
Yeah.
So, okay then. So we see the Commander variant. He comes with Hardened and Spotter again, with the Affiliation Builder.
I believe that his cards can be pretty nasty, right?
+1 dice.
Yeah, I think Offal might be a big deal. It might be John, nasty healing, dirty stuff with Corrin, never dying as a thing, and then a builder list with Offal as a second thing, and that might just be really dominating the game right now.
Burmarsh for 4. Counts and measures into the NCUs. Each time a Boeing cleans the zone, look at the top 2 cards. Place one on the bottom, one on the top.
He's got right back to what he used to be. 4 points. That's pretty solid, especially considering that there is the hand size limit and stuff like that. I think he's a 3 out of 5.
Aemon, he is exactly the same. So 1 friendly combat unit restores 1, +1 for each destroyed rank.
I think based on the fact that they've gotten some tankier abilities, they're way more sustained faction now than a burst faction, and I think that he's gone up to a 5 out of 5. He used to be a real problem at a low, medium level, and now I think he's actually going to be that at a competitive level.
Cool. Jaw Mormont. You claim a zone, and you can move a Night's Watch attachment card from one to the other, or search your tactics deck or discard pile for a tactics card that can be attached, and attach it to a friendly Night's Watch unit. Shuffle the deck.
That's fucking amazing. That's 5 out of 5 because their tactics, their vows now, they're just whole game abilities, and they're always on, and you can have as many as you want. Just doing that as much as possible is so important.
And some of them are ridiculous, and you get to basically, because of the nature of the Night's Watch tactics deck, so many of them are attachable cards, meaning that you basically play Jaw Mormont onto a zone on round 1 and go, which card from my deck do I want? And you do that every round. It's kind of stupid. Corrin Halfhand for 6 points. Boom.
No.
Tywin, get fucked. Sacrifice to the cause. Start of any turn. If Corrin is not on the attack board, you may destroy him. If you do, target one enemy unit. That enemy cannot activate or perform actions this round. Interestingly enough, does combine with the Now His Watch is ended, because Corrin is a dead unit still. And as a result, it would apply Now His Watch is ended. Both of those cards can then be triggered, and you can then not only do you turn a unit off, but then you get to do potentially 2 extra actions, and then do your activation if it's the start of your turn. 3 actions in the middle of a turn that you get to do on the bounce is absolutely ridiculous tempo gain. Half-Hand's Guidance, +1 move, +1 tempo.
Maybe you'll sell me. Okay, there's nasty combos, and maybe that's why he's gone up to 6. But like 6 is such a sell. He's basically okay. The deck got better, the faction got better, everything about Night's Watch got better, but he stayed the same. Why he went from 4 points to 6 points?
He was probably too good at 4,
maybe
to be fair.
maybe he's too good at. Maybe he is too good at 5. But I hate this idea. Like, I understand that they can be at different point values and stuff like that. But like, I hate this idea that, oh well, he's too good at 5, so make him 6. It's like, no, like, tone down his ability. Like, why are these? Why can't NCUs just cost 4 points and have equal abilities?
Yeah. Bellagroth saying, obviously our friend from Scotland, I believe. Sacrifice to the cause gives your opponent a VP, which is pretty naff. Yes, but also no. There's a lot of discussion. Victory through combat. I don't think anyone's ever said I want a VP from it. And yeah, it's. I do agree though. The victory through combat thing is not quite well defined enough for Corrin. So yeah, we'll see how that tries out. I think in tournaments we run, Corrin won't be giving victory points.
I've never seen it in the past, and it's the same ability as 4, right?
Yeah. But technically that wording is there, so.
No, I don't think that's true.
You'd have to go double check it. You're
All right, go on.
Anyway, moving on.
4 out of 5, only because of his combo abilities. I don't like that he's 6 points.
I agree. Dononoy for 5 points. He's got a lot of text. So 2 order tokens, and after a unit performs an attack, after rolling the dice, you can. The attacker makes a reroll any attack dice, and opponents cannot expend weaken from them. Or the defender gains +1 defense dice rolls, and opponents cannot spend vulnerable tokens from them. And you do this on any unit making an
attack. For 5 points, meh.
Yeah.
3 out of 5.
And we move on to awful 5-point attachment, and we have this. Each time he claims a zone, do a 3 dice, 3+ attack. He gains +1 attack dice for each of the defender's remaining ranks, and he gets the following depending on which zone Othel claimed. Vicious, Sundering.
That's very nasty. I'd buy that for 5 points. I'm not actually as like totally like over the moon about it as you are. I'd call it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I don't think it's 4. Honestly, looking at some Night's Watch list building, I think Othel's hard to fit in if you want the other stuff. That's the problem. The the actual issue, for me personally, is that I don't like the fact that you can just do a free attack and a panic. This is strictly better than taking the crown zone. He literally just says, "I take the crown zone."
Okay, but you have replaced the crown zone and you've paid 5 points to do so. So
You have.
like it's allowed to be strictly better than crown zone. But anyway, to Bellegarth and John from Scotland. Cool. So I guess if they've actually changed the wording in 2021, then I guess I'll have to have a look at it. I assume that they've kind of made it a more generic when a unit dies.
Yeah, they have.
In which case, there's an argument about whether or not an NC is a unit. Okay. Yeah.
And if it is a
if they
unit,
remove the word combat from that, then that's a problem.
yes. Right. Okay. That is the end of Night's Watch. So we did that one quite quickly, Carlo, because we're fed up of talking about Night's Watch. What do you think?
They're either unstoppable or they're S tier. They're the only two options. They're either the best thing going or they're completely broken on nearly every level. Time will tell. Time will tell. I expect them to win a lot of tournaments.
Okay, we are passing over into Free Folk next. Free Folk Giants. Obviously, Free Folk are my guys, my boys. I got them all painted up over here. So let's see how these guys fared out. 7-point Giants with the 2+ Furious Swing. It's the same. They lost a morale point.
1 out of 5. 1 out of 5.
Furious Swing is an 8. Furious Swing is an 8.
I don't care. You can have an innate piece of crap ability, mate.
Why?
It's crap. It doesn't do any damage. Why do I ever attack you?
Yeah, this is exactly what we, as Free Folk players, this is exactly what we've been saying. You just never attack it, and it never does anything. I've been playing a lot of games and doing a lot of theory crafting. Those of you who are here have probably talked to me. By the way, 45 viewers. Massive shout out to all 45 of you who are watching us today. It's fantastic. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know how we use giants, but we went in with a mindset of there must be a way to use them effectively, and I think there are against the stuff that auto blocks hits. You need a giant, but I really struggle to see how we use them effectively. Moving on, Free Folk Trappers for 4 points, and we got the new hidden traps, and they lost insignificant, and they're still 6+ armor, and they're still 8 morale, and they're a piece of shit.
Yep, 1 out of 5.
Yep, I will still use these in my armies, because I think that they're a better value commander bunker than raiders are. If you've got your commander for free and you want a 4-point bunker for your commander, and the hidden traps can be useful for disorderly charges and a couple of extra hits to remove the first parts of a rank. That's about it. All right, Free Folk Raiders, 4 points, adaptive. They fixed the problem. They're still insignificant, and they're not this cowardly special rule. Everyone hated that from a lore perspective. Disorganized for +1, much more reasonable, and they go down to 7 morale. 6/5/4 on the melee attack with 4+ and 5+ defense. Carlo, what do you reckon?
You know what? The back in is a 3 out of 5. They're completely playable, not spammable. Actually, nice position for them to be in.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that they're making 4 points, give them that adaptive, but then when they get brought in with there's too many or whatever your bloody card's called,
Endless Horde,
that Endless Horde, there we go. That they don't have an attachment. So, really you're getting yourself a 3-point unit. Yeah. 3 out of 5. I think they rescued them.
Yeah, I think they're playable. I think anyone who plays Free Folk knows that Raiders are completely playable as this stands. With the extra +1 for failing morale, it doesn't sound like a big change, but that was actually really, really bad. Okay. So, Spearwise at 5. Those of you in chat who are Free Folk players, Leica, Charles, if he's still here, I know he absolutely loves these guys, so do I. These guys are sick. They are really the most damage effective unit that you can have access to. The Spear Toss on a 4/4/4 on a short, Spear on the 6/6/4. With the Coordinated Assault, the charging +1 hits. Notice the keyword there, that's something we'll talk about in a bit. It's not Spear, it's Coordinated Assault is the special rule. And Charging Volley. Yeah. Charging Volley, super, super great.
5. Pretty strong unit. Yeah. I mean, there are other 5-point units that I wouldn't want to them against, and there are other 5-point units that I would want to put them against. So that means that they're a completely fine pick.
This is your alpha. This is your alpha in the Free Folk, I think. This is your alpha.
Yeah.
And we move on to the Cave Dweller Savages, also at 5, with 6, 7, 8 on a 4+. 6+ movement, we'll come to that later. 6+ armor, 4+ morale, with sundering, +1 hit for each rank, and unfortunately, this dumb rule for +1 wound, or you take a wound every time you roll a 1. I have played Cave Dweller Savages 3 times, and every time I've lost Cave Dweller Savages, it's because they've rolled 1s on the attack that I did before they died.
I give them a 3 out of 5. I think that they're not as good. They're not as good as Spearwives, and they feel. I know they're a finisher, and the Spearwives are an opener, but I mean, like, come on, the game doesn't work like that, right? Like, it's not that intricate. You don't get to put units in exactly the situations that you want them in. Spearwives are just better in the damage dealer role.
Yeah.
Right. So Spearwives just get picked nearly every time, in my opinion.
We'll come on to why I would pick CDS later on. Follows a bone at 5. I think follows a bone are completely fine. 754 on the 4+, 5+ armor, 7+ morale, 5+ move, vicious and horrific visage. I think they're completely fine for 5 points. I actually think
more sustainy defensive side. Yeah, absolutely. Give them a 3 out of 5. Maybe Cave Dweller Savages is just 2.
Wow. Wow. I actually think I think these guys are one of our more defensive units. I know Thens have got +1 morale and +1 armor, but I actually think the horrific visage is a better defensive tool in some ways. So we move on to Thens for 5 points, and we've got Taunt. We've got Taunt and Unyielding. -1 wound from failing panic text for each of its destroyed ranks, which is kind of cool. I'm glad they added that. That is a good rule. I think that does make them playable. 754 on the 4+. They've got Taunt, Carlo.
5 points, right?
They're 5 points, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You can be worth 3 points. You can be a 3 out of 5. Yeah. Why not? You're not terrible.
I actually think Taunt in these cases is a lot better for us because we want to taunt a unit that's a heavy hitter into these guys because we really don't want it hitting our other units. And if we don't fail the taunt, well, we'll be fine.
No, that's not true. But the rest of the package, even if you call Taunt a 0 cost ability, the rest of the package is almost worth 5 points. So you're all right.
We see the bear. Now the bear is massively changed. The way that bears work now is you select a bear at the start of a round from your skin changer, and when the skin changer units activates, if it is engaged with an enemy, it can deploy the bear in the flank. The bear itself, 48 viewers, thank you very much for all coming in, is no defensive saves with a savage mauling, 3+, 1 dice, 5+ armor save, 1 wound. If it dies, it can never be selected again. It does perform a free melee attack when it is deployed. It can be activated.
I mean, it's all part of what the skin changer is, and I don't think he's good myself.
I don't like the bear because 1 point makes him super easy to kill. Certainly at 5+ armor, but it does waste an attack. But actually, the biggest thing is that the attack. Bear in mind, it can never be deployed in the rear. This can never be deployed in the rear. It has to be front or flank. This.
It lost its vicious.
Lost vicious. So it's just
only -1.
It's just a wound with a -1 panic check, and whatever it is that's in the skin changer unit, which is going to be nothing because it's a skin changer and nothing else.
And you're only hitting a 3+, so it's not even a 2+ to hit anymore, right? So you say, oh, it's only a wound. Like, say a third of the time you don't even get a wound, and I don't take a panic check. Or actually worse than that, I auto pass a panic check. So if I have any of those dauntless abilities, anything like that, I know you don't have to pick the bear, but if I have any of those abilities, I just proc, heal a wound, deal a wound, you're dead anyway.
Yep. The bear's just not good against some of the stuff we see there. Bone Lord's chosen for 7 then. I'm disappointed in the Bone Lord's chosen. They gain 1 morale over the Followers of Bone, and they gain 1 attack dice and +1 to hit. 1 attack dice on the 2nd rank. They gain Prey on Fear as well. For 2 points, it's a lot. The Prey on Fear is good for 2 points. The problem is you need Rattleshirt, and Rattleshirt Commander is still really just not doing anything for me. Rattleshirt 2-point attachment, though. This unit for 9, not convinced. Follows a Bone with Rattleshirt for 7, decent.
I'm not buying this unit for 9 points, and I'm not taking Rattleshirt to get access to this unit.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, you could make this a 6-point unit, and with Rattleshirt being 8, I think I'd buy it for 8 with the attachment. Buying it for 9 is a bit of a feels bad.
2 out of 5.
So we then move on to War Mammoths for 6 points.
0 out of 5. 0, 0, 0. How fast has a unit? How fast has a unit gone from the worst, the terror of the competitive scene to the absolute joke of the competitive scene?
So I thought I'd do this live on stream. Here's my lovely painted mammoth by Grant Stacey from UCATS. And where's my hammer? Let me just get my hammer, because I'm sorry, Grant, but this was a complete and utter waste of your time for an ornament that's not even going to stay on my shelf because I'm going to smash it to bits. No, I wouldn't dare do that. But the point is that I am never going to put this on the table. I legitimately, as it stands, am never going to do it. And if you don't know why, because trample's only on a march action, which means you can only do 6 tramples per game maximum. And if you fail a panic check, your opponent does a trample still, which means that if you're playing against anything that generates panic checks, your opponent can trample your mammoth more than you can. I don't want to bring a 34-point list.
Morale. What happened?
6 morale.
Their morale got massacred at the same time as their offense got massacred at the same time as, like, it didn't do as much as it used to do, and now you can only do it once per round, and, like, oh my god, like, Simon seems so bad for, like, overreacting and double nerfing stuff. These got 6 nerfs at once, like, and their points cost didn't change.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd rather a unit was shite and never got used than it was too good and it was ruining the game for everybody, right? Still, come on, that's a joke. That's too far. They're so bad.
I think anyone putting this on the table and thinking, oh, this is a good list, it's a competitive list, clearly does not understand how they're supposed to work and clearly doesn't understand what's going wrong with these. They can't charge anything that has any form of defensive ability. So they're not even a battering ram, because the moment if they have a horrific visage, there's a more than 50% chance that War Mammoth will run away and trample over me, right? More than 50% chance. If they can't even trample through something and turn round to do a rear charge because they don't get to pivot at the end of the trample, which is actually a change we suggested. Yeah.
People are so right. They'd rather buy Raiders. They'd rather have a unit of Raiders at 4 points than this unit. Like, it's an absolute joke how, like, and it's just one of those things that, so people who don't play on TTS don't understand why this has happened, what they were before, and they never even got to play with them. It's silly. That's the most extreme. That's the 2 most extremes of, have you not tested this unit? It's fucking broken, to what the fuck did you do with this unit? Did anybody ever win a game with it? Like, crazy levels of extremes.
I don't know. Especially with more range units, I'm not even gonna lie. If you put this in your list,
to a unit of exactly the same thing as coming to a unit of red cloaks near you any day now. Yeah. Don't worry.
Well, I mean, compare red cloaks with this, right? I mean, that's not. But for what it's worth, if you put this in your free folk list and I'm fighting you against you, not gonna lie, I will ask you why you brought a 34-point list to a tournament and why you gave me a 46-point list. That's the way I look at this. If you want to make the game really fucking hard by giving your opponent a 12-point advantage, go for it.
I mean, you mentioned it. Imagine the Red Cloaks versus this. I move, you panic, you trample. I move, you panic, you trample. I move, you panic, you trample. It's like, oh my god. And actually, you know what? Seriously, you take 2 mammoths, I'll take 2 Red Cloaks. You can have the rest of your army. I don't want another unit. I'll take 12 points. You take 40 points. As long as 12 of them are spent on mammoths, I'm going to win.
16, because you want Joffrey NCU. There you go, done. You know?
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Give me Joffo NCU, and I'll take Roos Commander in one of them.
It's an absolute joke. I'm sorry, but, like...
Crazy. Obscene.
Right. Anyway, we'll move on to the units then, because yeah, that's just. I mean, don't get me wrong, they did need changing. I'm glad they changed them because they were a problem. But I mean, that is like, that's not even like taking the horse that's lame
Better
and killing
balance
it.
than Red Cloak.
Yeah. That's not even. But the thing is, that's not even putting a horse down that's lame. That is taking it out and then chopping its legs off one by one while it sits there screaming. Right. Tormund Giantsbane, Commander. Overrun and Furious Charge. Great. I rate Tormund since Tactics cards I played him. He comes with Rush of Aggression for an auto 6 charge. Auto 6 charges are good. Remember when Starks did it and it fucked people over? It's good.
Yep.
The 2-point attachment for Warcry and Stalwart. Don't really give a shit about Stalwart, but Warcry's decent. The token play's decent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Something you'll see a lot from the Free Folk is all of our
Great.
named attachments are 2 points, and they're all kind of not as good as other people's 2-point attachments.
We're all going to score a 3.
Mance Raider, Commander, incredible counter strategy and inspiring presence and rally point.
Every single Free Folk person that I've spoken to or seen speaking about Free Folk say that Mance is the only saving grace of the faction.
He's by far and
Pretty
best
much.
the best commander, I think. The best control commander there is. Rayleigh for a point. Gang up. I will freely admit that this sounds like a terrible ability for 1 point. After playing the game, I actually think that this is a very good ability for 1 point if you can get it on a raid unit, because it's actually going to help you a lot more than you think. +1 to hit is insanely helpful against with Free Folk at the moment because everything hits on 4. So hitting on a 3 actually massively increases your damage output. So raid
I can
is.
believe it. I still think that it's a sad state of affairs if you're desperately needing that for a point.
Yep.
Because everybody else doesn't.
Cave Dweller Alpha, Insight, 1 point. Completely fine. Everyone else gets it. It's fine. Put it on Raiders.
So,
Raiders always hit on
does-
6.
Does everybody else's, some people, others come with reinforcements as well?
Yeah, some people just, get to be a Horde faction for basically free. For a point. Yep. Spearwife Matriarch. Swift Retreat. This is not good on its own. Not good on its own at all. This is absolutely fantastic with an attachment we're going to see later on down the line, and it makes, in my opinion, Spearwives a 7-point unit. A very good 7-point unit at that.
Carlo doubt on that.
Carlo, big doubt. So, we see skin changes for 2. Bonded skin changer. We see bear, eagles, or wolves. Stalwart for the extra one as well. We talked about the bear. The bears, really, I don't give a shit against what I think most people are going to run.
I'm not spending
and
2 points on that crap.
the eagle, you get to do a 2-inch shift every time that unit that it's on does a maneuver or march. That's okay, but why am I paying 2 points for a 2-inch shift every now and then? And the wolf is disorderly charges on a 1 and 2. And if I charge you, I get rerolls. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, just
It all would have seemed fine at 1 point, but
Yeah.
he became 2 points. I don't want Stalwart. Keep him at 1 point and give me the animals.
the meme list is of course the Mance bubble list where you put him in Raiders. Raiders makes them 5. Mance makes them 5, and this gives them +2 morale, meaning your Raiders are now 3+ morale, which is hilarious meme. But I don't think you do anything. Like, no, you actually don't do anything. But yeah. Chosen Stire with Stand Your Ground. I don't give a shit for 1 point. Don't care.
No.
There's enough rerolls going
Not
around.
interested. You're not a grinding faction. You're not a defensive faction. You're not there. You're not there to just sit and take charges. Even if you are Thens, still not interested in it. No.
Stire, the commander version, has Then Supremacy because Lannister Supremacy and Targaryen Supremacy wasn't enough, and we have Iron Resolve. These are okay attachment.
That's an okay attachment. I hear his cards are dog shit these days.
Final Strike is fine. Steer's Vengeance is like a when a unit dies, put this on the board, get something, and it's absolute crap. It's by far and worst. It is by far the worst on death card that exists in the game. It's trash. And Then Defiance is reroll a panic check, auto pass if you're within short range of Stire, which is useful against certain things. If you want to run a mammoth, you'll need to run Stire. 100%. Because otherwise your mammoth will kill you. And if you're running a mammoth, your list's shite. Right. So, Champion of Bone, 1 point. Intimidating Presence, completely fine.
Nah, whatever. 3 out of 5.
Rat Shirt, Commander, Trophy Collecting. After a friendly unit completes a melee attack, if it destroys an enemy rank, they've got rid of all the ridiculousness of it has to be in short range or this. You just anytime you kill a rank, you pop this, and you can just search your tactics card or discard pile for Rattle Shirt Commander tactics card, and he comes and you put it in play on whatever you want, and you get Intimidating Presence as well. He's fine. The problem is tactics cards. Armor trophies gives him +1 armor. Bloody trophies gives him anytime a unit engaged fails a panic, they become panicked, I think. Something like that. And weapon trophies is +1 to hit.
I feel like considering the opportunity, it feels fine until you consider the opportunity cost of the other commander cards that you kind of want to have instead. That you want to have Tormund, you want to have Rush of Aggression. The other things that you can have are just way more impactful on the game.
Yeah. It kind of sucks, unfortunately. Really. 2 point Route Shirt though is good. 2 point. It comes with Spread Fear and Intimidating Presence. Both very good abilities you want. Yeah.
Fine. 3 out of 5.
2 points.
Nobody's impressing me here, though.
Harmer Commander. Superior Flanking and Enhanced Mobility. Combinations of rules we've seen before. She comes with Fainting Maneuver, Hit and Run, Swift Reposition for what it's worth. Comes with like a pseudo. It's basically new Swift Advance if you've got Harmer and other things. Hit and Run, you have to be engaged for Hit and Run to work, so it's not great. And Fainting Maneuver, charge in the front, get moved to the flank, charge the flank, get moved to the rear. That's actually pretty cool, because you can navigate that way. I'm not sold on Harmer Commander necessarily, though. But I do think she's good. I think she'll see play. Harmer 2 point attachment, though.
To Bob in the chat, what point did you prove?
What point? What?
Bob played Starks once in a competition to prove a point. I'm not sure what point he proved.
Did he even qualify? Oh no, he did qualify, but then he failed to turn up.
He
finals.
did qualify.
Oh well. So next thing to look at: Harmer attachment 2 points. This shit is the bomb. Sentinel and Enhanced Mobility. This is a real shit. In my opinion, early testing days. Sentinel is always a good ability to have for a point. For 2 points, you get Enhanced Mobility as well. Each one of those abilities is 1 point worth of abilities, and I'm happy with Harmer. Harmer is good, in case you weren't aware, because you can put Harmer for +1 move, combine that with CDS to make a 7-inch unit that can pivot before marching.
That can pivot and march.
Yep.
Yeah, it's.
How about an
it's
auto?
Niche.
How about an auto 6 on the charge, Carlo? That's an automatic 13-inch charge.
Yeah, but you're not an opener unit. You're supposed to be a finisher.
Yep.
So you're not going to use that to just get in there and one-shot me and open the game up. Not in my opinion. We'll see. It might be important. It's 2 points. Always a hard sell.
Trust me, it gets there because we have Harmer's Bannerman. Now this guy is a fucking lad, right? 1 point, and he ignores usual attachment limit. Has to have Harmer in the army. Does not have to go in Harmer's unit. Can go wherever he wants. And he counts as being Harmer for her tactics cards, but his ability for 1 point regroup is absolutely incredible when combined with the Spearwife Matriarch. You get attacked, you can now retreat and heal 2 wounds. If they did 1 wound, if they killed a rank, you get 3 wounds. If they killed 2 ranks, you get 4 wounds. You will always have Spearwives on 2 ranks. 7 point package for Spearwives always on 2 ranks is amazing.
Fair play. Yeah. All right.
It is really good. We've played it. A lot of people have.
And you're out of combat, so you can shoot and charge now and do all sorts of stuff.
And you get +2 automatic hits because of the Spearwife charge. Next up, we see the Weeper. Grizzly Example. This is the Commander variant. Grizzly Example is a worse version of Theon because it automatically kills Theon every time, but at least you get to use the ability again. And you got Weaken Resolve. Oh, I don't care. It's okay, but...
How much did it cost? 2 points.
This is Commander version.
Oh, Commander.
free.
No, not really.
Do you want to see
Maybe.
do you want to see
Maybe.
the 2-point cost version?
Yeah.
Same thing, but with Vicious instead.
No, no, not at all.
Piece of
No,
crap.
those two units, they're not worth 1 point each in individual, and I don't want them both for 2.
I don't know why you'd want. Anyway, you grit for 2 points. The attachment mark, target, and disrupt. Disrupt is always going to be handy in those situations, and sticking a vulnerable in long range is always nice. 2 points is a hard sell. I think you have to put her in the Raiders for effectively 1 point cost. That's my take.
Yeah. Still, she's expensive at 2. I would like her to just have mark target for 1.
I personally don't think you will ever see your grit played on the board because her NCU, when we get to later on, is absolutely fucking stupid. So, moving on. Jarl for 1 point. If you have Ironborn captains, because you're Greyjoys, and you can have like 2 of them in your army, you can instead have a named character, which you only have 1 of in your army, and he comes with exactly the same ability. And if you're anyone else who comes with Outflank, you usually come with other abilities for 1 point. Jarl has actually dropped off the meta completely because everyone else has Outflank now, and he can't be combined with another attachment.
And you just don't have spare units anymore.
No. You put him in Spearwives now, it's a 6-point unit you're keeping off the board, and if the enemy is going to be blocking horses, if the enemy has field control because they're playing Targs, if the enemy has any form of counterplots and counterplays, like, Jarl is just a lost tempo play.
Field control is a nightmare.
Yeah, I just don't see it, unfortunately. AO, Northern Realms, that'll be Daryl popping in. Good. I don't know if Daryl's on shift tonight. Shout out to Daryl, no doubt working at the hospital. So yeah. Walrus Clan Chieftain, 2 points. Resilience, you become a giant for an attack. Resilience has proved pretty popular for Baratheon players with the high armor, but the problem is, like, unless you're running Thens, like, the Clan Chieftain worked out better than Stand Your Ground did and a Skin Changer would have done in my Raiders. The thing is, actually, I don't give a shit.
No, I don't give a shit for 2 points. I'm not buying that for 2.
No.
I'm not buying it. Even with your Torn, you can have whatever you want. Like, I'm not. It's not enough. Not enough.
If you can, like, it's one of those attachments that works really well with, like, the attachment swapping ability. But actually, you don't often want to swap this into a better unit because the other unit probably come with an attachment.
Yep.
Like, there is a play. I've got it in the mind. What you do is you put him in you put him in Raiders, and you have a unit of Thens. Then what you do is you put the unit of Thens up front. They take a hit, they take some wounds, and then you swap and you put the Chieftain in there, and the Raiders then heal the Thens up. Like, that's the play. You now got a 7-point unit that you didn't pay 7 points for, but pretty meme. Pretty meme. NCUs then, Lady Val. She's the same, but she gets the vulnerable from the retreat. Fine. She was always really good. She's gone up a point, but she's still really great.
Yeah, mediocre. Sure, whatever. She was too good at 3 points, but then all 3-point NCUs were anyway.
Yeah. Mance at 4 points. By far, most people immediately looked at Mance and went, he is shit. And then I played a game, and by the end of round 3, I had 6 cards left to draw in my deck. Mance, without taking letters once, by the way. Mance is absolutely incredible if you want to go for a card draw engine, especially combined with Craster. Fully 100% think man. If you want to play an aggressive style with Tormund, play Mance. Play Mance and CU. He is incredible. You will draw so many cards. You know, it's not. I was playing more cards.
Yeah, interesting. He's got.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, yeah, he's got like the old Courtney effect, but for card draw. You know, and Courtney always found ways to target units to cause the heals to happen and stuff like that.
So, do you remember when Courtney had to go on an enemy unit though?
Yeah.
Mance doesn't.
Yeah.
So you get to proc it more often. That's actually you put this on your own units, and that's where you get the benefits. Craster for 4, he's the same, but he gets a 2 once per game heal at the start of any turn. And Craster, again, actually builds that card draw engine. Every time you play Mance, and let's say you play Mance onto, I don't know, the maneuver zone, you draw 1 card. You then Craster onto the zone, you target the unit you've just Manced, and you heal 2 to the unit. Even if they can't heal 2, you still restore 2 wounds, you still target them, and you draw a tactics card, and because you target them with the zone, you draw 1 for Mance. So you just drew 3 cards, and did a zone and 2 heals, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I think,
Absolutely brilliant.
yeah. Yeah, and yet he didn't change, except he's not allowed in Night's Watch anymore.
Yes, no longer allowed in Night's Watch, actually. Okay, Styre for 5 points. He looks not great for 5 points. +1 attack dice and sundering. Quiet pick. Quiet pick, he is actually quite useful because we need the access to what he gives us. And that's a combination of sadness and, yeah. He's good.
That's sadness. If that's a good pick for you at 5 points, that's sad.
Yeah. And we see Ygritte at 4, and Ygritte is nuts. Ygritte +1 move and ignore hindering and rough keywords, or on an enemy -1 move and triggers disorderly on 1s and 2s. This is what makes you the missile. You put Harmer in the Cave Dwellers Savages, so you go to 7 move. Ygritte makes it an 8 move unit with an auto 6. That's a 14-inch charge. You can charge outside of the range of Night's Watch crossbowmen, and they don't even get to use their order because you will be out of range of the 2-inch shift shot if you're slightly off center. So you can actually charge things that you couldn't previously. You ignore all the terrain that you run through because you ignore hindering and rough. You're in there. This is how you close. This is the long-range solution. Will. Not entirely convinced it works, but it does. Well, it does work. I'm not entirely convinced.
She's a powerful NCU. She's a good pick.
Yeah. And that is the end of Free Folk. Carlo, how do you think Free Folk are looking up while I change things over?
Bad times. It looks like bad times to be Free Folk. I think that people will put some stuff together. They'll do okay with it. But what it feels like to me is they went through and they went to like all these attachments on loads of factions, and they were like, "Ooh, people might not pick that. Let's give it another ability. Ooh, that guy like never seems to see play, so let's give him an extra second ability. Let's reduce his cost by 1." And then they just went to Free Folk and they went, "They're fine." Like, and just didn't give them anything else that they were giving everybody else. Like, everybody else was getting these little buffs to make them more playable, to make attachments see play, to make named characters cool, and all that. And it's just like, no, you're getting nerfed on all the things that we know are a problem, and you're not getting any of the stuff that everybody else is getting. It feels tough. All
of our named attachments outside of Jarl are 2 points, and they come with a start of friendly turn effect and something else. And they're all like everyone else's 1 point attachments are like named attachments are like 1 point. And it's why the Harmer's Bannerman, by the way, is the best attachment, because he's a named attachment at 1 point, and actually he has a named attachment level ability. So yeah. Baratheons, Carlo, your second best. Recommend looking out the 3 Cells Gaming with Yannick did a overview of the Baratheons. So recommend checking his stuff out. Yannick, obviously friend, as is George. So should we just rattle through these really quick? We've seen a lot of this stuff before.
Yeah, go on then.
Go for a quick one.
Quick.
8 point Zagnites. Where are you rating them? 7/7/7s on 3 plus 4
really
plus
good. Absolutely playable. Command bunker, all that kind of stuff. Probably 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Let's go. Baratheon Wardens for 5. We see 6x4 on the 4 plus, 3 plus armor, 6 plus morale, Warhammer, and Counter Strike.
4 out of 5. Completely playable, cheap unit.
Buffed from the previous version. Actually a buffed unit. Sentinels at 6. We see Sentinel, conveniently, and double hammers for sundering. 7/6/4 on a 4 plus armor, 6 plus morale.
4 out of 5. I take one of them. The fact that they stack an order means that I don't want loads of them, but the order is powerful, particularly when that's not a trigger you have in the deck anymore, really.
Yep. Cool. Rose Knights for 7. Obviously, Renly loyalty now. They come with 7/5/4 on a 3 plus armor, 6 plus morale. The 4 movement, as we know. The perseverance and valor for the 1 wound restore, and they have deadly bloom. They get to deal a wound every time they heal a wound.
I still think that they're overrated by a lot of people. So probably 4 out of 5. If the game moves into like being an absolute grind fest, they could actually be a 5 out of 5. If the game state comes to favor them more, I do think that people think they're better than they actually are, and at the competitive level, they get taken apart.
R'hllor Faithful for 6, the Stannis side now. 7/6/4 on a 4+, 5+ armor, 4+ morale, and Heart of Fire. Starts the game with a faith token and the 2 abilities. When an enemy engaged with this unit performs an attack, for each destroyed rank of this unit, the attacker suffers 3 hits. When this unit performs a melee attack, this attack gains precision and vicious, and a 3rd ability, when this unit is destroyed, one other R'hllor unit in long range performs an attack.
That is strong. Their reduction to 6 points is very powerful. They have gone to 4+ to hit. I think I'm going to call them a 4 again. I'm tempted. I kind of want to call them a 5, but I think they're a 4+.
Okay.
4 out of 5, sorry.
Cool. Champions of the Stag at 8. The 7/5 stat line on 3+, 4 move, 2+ armor, Jesus motherfucking Christ, 6+ morale, and the Champion's Wrath, crit blow all the time, and if they charge, the enemy becomes weakened.
Absolutely monstrous cavalry coming in. How are they coming in at the same? I mean, I know they're movement 4, but so what? They're coming in at the same points cost as all these other cavalry units, and yet they're just better. Yeah, they're better. 5 out of 5. 8 points. That's a great place to spend 8 points.
2+ armor save when you apply weaken when you charge them. Oh man.
Yeah, and you have constant crit blow. Like, do you know what I mean? You have so much sustain.
How do you kill this unit unless you've got auto wounds?
Throw Glory Seeker in there, and like
they just
if
heal.
you can afford the 9th point, yeah, crazy times.
This is, by the way, this is why I want to run a giant, because I'm afraid of this thing coming in and killing me, and I don't even think the giant's the answer. Pretty sad. Dragonstone Noble then, the usual 2. This is the solo. 3 dice on 3+, 2+ armor again, 3+ morale. Sentinel, he comes with the solo rider, which is not the same as a cavalry. He can actually do a retreat action now. He comes with sundering and +2 hits for each wound he has suffered.
Pretty similar to Matt on the Rides, actually. Which I mean, I think he's very strong. I still think it's kind of like a 1 in every Stannis side, not necessarily a 2. Again, that Sentinel order, but doubling up isn't that useful. I think he's maybe a 5. I think you want one of them on a Stannis side. To always take one on Stannis.
Okay, Kingsmen at 7 then. Kingsblade, so this is the new version. There was a bit of a mix-up with an assets released and then they were released. So we see 7/6/4 on a 3+, 4+ armor, 6+ morale. Kingsblade, search your tactics card or tactics deck. Discard pile, for 1. Ours is the Fury, and add it to your hand. And then they've got to the last. Ours is the Fury isn't in the deck anymore, is it?
The right asset.
This is the wrong one, isn't it? Jesus, I've got the new ones. Where are the new ones? Ah, sod it. I'll find it out in a second. Where are the new ones? You talk about.
They're so thoroughly mediocre. I think they're like a 3 out of 5 these days. I think they're a bit of a letdown. I think nearly everything else in the faction looks better than them, which is unfortunate because I really like the models.
Yeah, I think the models are pretty great. Unless I'm checking, I have got the new ones. You've got the new ones on the site, haven't you?
Yeah.
In doubt, I'll just jump over to the builder. Yeah, for some reason I still got the old ones here in all of my asset drops.
Let's move on.
So what we got? What we got next? We have got probably something else that's going to be wrong. Yes, the R'hllor Queen's Men. Actually, no, these
distinctly better than the Kingsmen, I believe.
I think.
At like the same points cost. You have the 4 movement, but like the 3+ save makes it worthwhile. Generally speaking, yeah, I think that maybe these are 4 out of 5. They're not like auto plays, but yeah.
Daniel completely bails me out there. These are the right ones. It was just ours is the Fury still in the deck. So yeah. Quick reminder.
What's their points cost on them? Are they both 7?
Both 7.
Yeah. Problem is that Queen's Men are just better than King's Men, and to be honest, they're both only just about playable at 7, really, in my opinion, when you consider the 6 options that they compete with, or the 8 options that they compete with. Or the R'hllor Lightbringers at 7, who are also pretty strong.
Yeah, R'hllor Lightbringers, fire arrows on 7/6/4 on 3+, 5/4/3 daggers, 4+ armor on a range unit, ouch, and 6+ morale with vicious, and if the defender fails a panic, one other in short range suffers a -2 panic check. A vicious panic check,
i.e.
basically.
bouncing vicious. It's not +1 anymore on the other units. I think that this is, I mean, going to 7 units when they were 6 points, I thought that they were pretty bonkers. Ranged Vicious is very, very powerful, though, particularly with that bouncing panic damage. I think that they're pretty damn good. 4 out of 5 at 7 points.
7 dice and 3
I think
plus.
that the Baratheons are just showing great internal balance. It's a lot of very equally efficient units.
We move on to the commanders now, and all the attachments. We see Renly Baratheon, Commander, Boldness and Courage, Embolden, and obviously Renly Baratheon Loyalty.
All a great set of stuff. Embolden even does it on yourself these days. Yeah.
He has lost
Great abilities.
The cards have lost a little bit of punch in the cards
Yeah.
that he's got. If anything.
Yeah, I don't like his cards as much anymore.
Stannis
Stannis is the
Baratheon,
new dog.
Rightful Heir, Adaptive Planning, any token, mark target, get a vulnerable. Replace a token, any vulnerable. Pretty good, right?
I think he's really, really strong, and his cards are really, really strong, and his token manipulation is really good. And I think the Stannis side as a whole is looking very powerful.
Silent Nobles for 2. Do you remember these guys that were revealed yonks ago? Go down fighting, Iron Resolve, and Stubborn Tenacity. That is a lot of keywords for 2 points.
A lot of abilities for 2 points. I still probably don't buy it. Maybe I do. But like, you know, it's a 4, maybe out of 5 for a 2-pointer. To the top end of what you can expect to get, but you know what? Still don't want it for 2 points.
Fair enough. Master Warden for 1 point. Stand your ground. It is the same as the thing we had. Yeah.
I don't like it. I'm not interested.
Moving on. Stannis Baratheon, R'hllor, the One True King, Dauntless, Iron Resolve, and obviously a R'hllor affiliation.
Yes. Sure. I don't know actually know what his cards are like. I would like to see a really heavy R'hllor theme getting to be powerful.
I believe as I was causing a lot of stir when I saw a lot of Baratheons talking about him. What it does is it's all about panic tests and how it doesn't take any damage. R'hllor's name gives crit blow sundering. You're R'hllor. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Devon Seaworth for 1 point, and we see Reckless Heroism and True Conviction.
I like that. So I think that Reckless Heroism is definitely good for 1 point. True Conviction just comes for free, effectively, and just helps back up the fact that you might be sacrificing wounds. Devon's great, I think. Yeah, 5 out of 5.
Auto 6s are good.
Davos charges, big plays.
Davos with Outflank. You may hold his ability, hold his unit off the board, and Pathfinder.
I don't know if Outflank on a commander is good.
I think it is, and hear me out here.
Okay.
Having Outflank on the commander, you're probably going to deploy the commander last anyway. Having Outflank on the commander allows you to play a mind game with your opponent. In that, do I have to think about Outflank as a thing where commander's going to come on, or does it not matter?
Yeah.
And you can just completely fuck with people. You have no idea if you can deploy him on the board and where he's going to go. And then if you don't deploy him, you know, if he's in Stag Knights, the last thing you want is Stag Knights coming in on round 2 or round 3 with all the buffs they have and coming and kicking the shit out of you.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce tells it how it is, but field control. I mean, it's only in one faction, so
it is.
You know,
it is.
but still,
you are
we
right.
just can't get over. We can't get over what that card does. It is counterplot plus your own replacement effect plus whatever, like all automatic. It's crazy, like that.
Yeah,
that it exists.
The 1 point version of Davos has supply aid. We saw that on the conscripts and True Conviction as well. Absolutely fine for a point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, like
point.
1 point, and you're getting that auto 1 heal per turn, plus getting to move units around, and particularly putting on a unit which always then can go down to its 2nd rank and count as having its extra rank. Sorry, that's not actually what True Conviction does anymore, is it?
No, it's reroll any attack dice.
With more, okay, because it used to be you always count as having 1 more rank as long as you're in a thingy unit. No, that's very, very strong for 1 point. Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah. Cool. Right then, moving on. Andrew Estimate for 1 point. Insight. Yep, and True Conviction. Fine.
Yeah.
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 Fine.
True Conviction is just like it seems to be for free for all these guys.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Right. Commander Andrew, though, True Conviction again. First of the King's Men, you count as controlling crowns and letters for tactics cards targeting this unit. Pretty good if you've got those.
I
combat
don't
cards.
know their deck well enough, except that it uses those 2 zones.
Pretty useful though. I think it's going to be extra stuff like
Yeah.
heals and stuff, extra like keywords on the attacks. Renly Baratheon, the Lord Paramount. Someone saying, is it Garland Tyrell, who pretends to be Renly. Boisterous Charisma. This unit may never be targeted by enemy orders, tactics cards, or be influenced by any NCU's innate ability. That is very good. And Stalwart.
Yeah.
It's good because he comes with Stalwart. You can make something that just doesn't die. We're getting there, Carlo. We're getting there. We've only got one more faction to go after this. Oh, God. Loras Tyrell, Expert Duelist, Dauntless. Yeah, this is the Commander version. Dauntless is obviously very good. And Expert Duelist, polarizing ability.
Yes. Again on Commander again. Yeah, it's quite a big play if you're going to run your Commander into the enemy Commander and kill him and then take control at that point. We'll see what Loras is like. I don't think that Loras is very good.
Loras for 2 points though, Expert Duelist and Precision.
Nah, not really.
I actually don't think you need the Precision, ironically, because the Expert Duelist achieves it anyway. So, Brienne for 1 point, obviously with Renly. After Renly Baratheon is attacked, this unit performs 1 attack or 1 charge. Not a order, not anything.
No, it's crap. You bet high level play, you almost never got any use out of it for 0. And now she's 1.
Yep.
Not
Pretty good in Stormcrow Archers though, wouldn't it?
That's true because and funnily enough, now you'd want them to have adaptive back. It used to be annoying because they had adaptive, but you didn't want to put Brienne in them because she was 0 points. Now they don't have adaptive and she costs 1 point.
Absolute sadness. As the Elden Estimant, marked targets who are vulnerable. We know that. Hardened, the extra blocks. Bigger in Stagnites, people say.
This guy in Stagnites is an absolute nightmare.
Yep. The problem is the rest of the list kind of folds around him, perhaps. So,
yeah.
Red Priestess. Oh, look! It's the thing we thought it was when it got nerfed, but didn't get nerfed, and so now it's an unnerfed version of the nerfed card that we got, but in a situation where cards got nerfed. What?
So is it both?
It is both tokens.
But it always suffers a wound now.
Yes.
It
And
suffers a wound
and one
one
panic test.
And it's actual panic test.
You do a wound and a panic test. So it is a lot more painful. Not a morale
that's
test.
That's quite an investment. It's better because it's not a thing that you just want to spam on everything anymore. It is like if you have great morale, if you're a faith-based unit, then you put it on that unit.
Yeah.
So basically, it goes with the Relaw, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Pikeman Captain for Renly. Bonus and courage for a point.
Okay. 3 out of 5.
Yeah, going to be good in a pikes or halberd style list if it's attacking on 1 rank, meaning it will attack on 2 ranks, which will probably be its maximum attack profile. Thornwatch Sentinel, Dauntless and Pathfinder. I don't like this because you can put this 1 point attachment in Rose Knights and it gives you the old Rose Knights back for 8 points with Pathfinder. Pathfinder's pretty good for a point, basically. Yeah, it scared me a little bit. Don't know if it was good though. Dragonstone Noble Attachment Sentinel, nice and simple. Really good, useful.
Is it 1 point still?
Yeah, 1 point.
Pretty strong. 4 out of 5.
Axel Florent 2 point NCU. No, this is the 2 point attachment. Sorry. Relaw, and he comes with Zealous Fanaticism. This unit's melee attacks gain vicious and always roll their highest attack dice. You suffer 1 wound for each attack die roll of a 1. Hello, Cave Dwellers. And Intimidating Presence.
Meh. They're better choices. I'd rather have things like Devon and Davos.
Yep. Commander version of Axel, though, Intimidating Presence and Stalwart. That's a pretty good combo with Relaw.
Maybe. his old cards were pretty explosive and very good on Velour units. I'd like to see his cards and see his use.
Courtney Penrose for 2 tactical reposition and Orders of the Crown. He is a 2-point version of a couple of things we've seen before. 3 maneuvers in Baratheon.
I think that he's lost a lot of his power of his NCU and NCU attachment. Sorry, NCU commander.
Yeah.
Do
you think you'll see him as a 2-point attachment? 2-point attachment, yay or nay?
No.
Commander version then, bookkeeping, so you get the +1 hand, and you get Orders of the Crown again, the free maneuver, and March on Crowns. I think this is very good.
Yeah, but still, I don't think it's as good as it was.
No, I mean nothing was as good as Court in Baratheon.
No, nothing. Yeah. I'm not interested in that Orders of the Crown. Like, I mean, maybe the March. Maybe I'm underselling it. Maybe they need that maneuverability. Weasel. About 3 hours ago, Weasel was right that I did complain about Lannisters not having maneuverability, and then turn my nose up at the one thing that gave them maneuverability. So, yeah, maybe Courtney is fine, but I just think that Stannis is stronger right now. I don't see a lot going on the Courtney side. I just see the Stannis side being super powerful.
Next one, Alistair Thornton for 4 points. NCUs diving in. He's the same. You just get to swap with an empty zone or switch.
He's got 3 times now. He's got 3 order tokens, not 2. Fine.
Yep.
3 out of
5. Shira, this new kind of like claims the crowns, restore a wound, claims the letters, condition token from a friendly unit, claims the bags, place a condition token. So the bags and the
they gave her 1 extra ability on the crowns, basically, when they pushed her up to 4. She's okay. Yeah, she's fine. I guess she's still a 3 out of 5. I thought she was very, very good at 3. So I guess she's fine at 4.
Melisandre for 6. Should we even read the rest other side of this card? Because it better be good for 6 points, right?
No, she wasn't even good at 5.
Yeah, now I don't get this. I do not get this at all. You do 2 wounds to yourself, and you do a panic test, and then you target an enemy unit, and they suffer a panic test with -2 and +2 wounds on fail. So it's kind of like the same thing that she used to do.
It's pretty shite.
Yeah.
It's like limited to only 2 wounds, and you take a panic test. Rather than 1 to 3 wounds, you lost the control of that, lost being able to control what your ranks are at, lost. I mean, everybody did 3 all the time, to be honest, but like, still, nah. To go up to 6 and be that, like, they didn't understand that she wasn't a good unit and she wasn't winning tournaments, she wasn't winning games, she wasn't dominating the game. That was just bad players complaining about a negative play experience.
She makes them allure and vicious though when she does the wounds to them. I guess that's okay.
Sure.
Davos for 4 then.
5.
Davos for 4. He's lots of abilities here. You can re-roll a charge distance for one of his order tokens. He's got 3 tokens, and the other one is remove a token from him when a friendly unit activates. If you do, until the end of the turn, enemy engaged with that unit may not use orders or be target of friendly tactics cards. That's going to be very good at getting a charge off into something, and you don't want the enemy to do anything like a set for charge or like a get around tactics card play and things like that.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. I like the fact that basically you use his token to reroll after you've seen that you've already failed.
Yep.
You know, or seen that you've got disordered, for example, as well. Yeah, pretty good. Maybe 4 out of 5 for that. Charges and making sure that they go off and that they're good are really key to the game.
Yeah, definitely. Selyse and Shireen, 5 points. Influence. Influence unit, gain +1 to morale tests, and each time it passes morale, one enemy engaged with suffers 1 wound. That's fine. Necessary sacrifices. When a friendly combat unit will be destroyed, you may destroy Selyse and Shireen. Ironically, would give a VP if we understand it that way. If you do, that unit is not destroyed but remains in play with D3 wounds. Until the end of the game, it is a R'hllor unit. The problem here is you kind of want to do the influence on the same unit that you influence Mel with, but you can't influence the same unit twice. So
I hadn't actually seen Selyse and Shireen. Maybe better than Corin. No, you know what? At first I was like, how the hell are they worth 5? But you know, necessary sacrifices could actually be a pretty big play. she doesn't have to be unactivated, unlike Corin.
No, she just
Uh,
literally.
Yeah, she just responds and says, "No, that unit's not dead."
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I could give her a go. I could give her a try.
Cool. Axel Florent for 4-point NCU, influencing enemy unit with control of crowns, they suffer +1 wounds, and if you control letters, they cannot be target of friendly tactics cards.
Okay, mediocre. 3 out of 5. Could be better.
Margie Terrell, the eternally terrible NCU, and is basically the same. So claims his own target one friendly combat unit, they restore a wound. You may then target one enemy combat unit, they become vulnerable. Engage with that unit, sorry, they become vulnerable. Yeah, fine, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah,
it gets
fine.
both effects now. Yeah, I
Yeah.
quite like that. Target a friendly unit, they restore a wound, and you can also do the vulnerable. It used to be you either targeted them for a wound or targeted yourself to heal a wound. Getting both, pretty efficient actually for a 4-point.
Yeah, the whole thing was like you target.
Oh yeah, and it's not infantry only now either.
Yeah, it's not infantry. That's actually the big thing. And the vulnerable token in the engaged enemy unit could be useful. Yeah, I can see that being played. It's better. And we have Elena. Every time Elena claims a zone, you choose one. This is not a replacement zone effect. Target one NCU. That enemy NCU loses all abilities until the end of the round. Classic. Or if that NCU claims a zone this round, before resolving that zone's effect, target one enemy combat unit. They suffer D3 hits and become weakened.
Not buying it for 5.
I think you choose the ability one more often than not because they're going to choose abilities for their NCUs, unless you really want to kill something off or put a weakened token on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot for
I'm
5.
not sold on it for 5.
It could be
It's
very
okay.
good. It could be very good.
Yeah.
By the way, this completely shuts down Walder builds. Lol.
That's true, actually.
But
again, you're paying 5 points to shut down a 4-point unit.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
as soon as you turn
strategy-
off
it's a
his
strategy,
abilities, he can then activate if he wants.
Yeah. But he can't do whatever he wants. So
Yeah.
4 for Eldon, and we see Elderly Caution, draw 3 tactics cards, shuffle 1 tactics card from your hand into your deck. It doesn't say you choose, or if it's random, I assume it's a choice. I think you choose.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you choose.
Yeah.
Fine, it's effectively a...
Exactly the same. It's actually better because it used to be that you drew 3 cards and then you picked one of the 3 that you just drew, but now you just pick any one from your hand, which is probably worthwhile considering that he's gone up to 4 and he was a bit of a nightmare at 3 and an absolute auto pick. I think he's fine at 4, maybe. Yeah. I picked him because he was 3 points, not because of the card draw.
Yeah. Okay, we got Courtney Penrose at 4. Bloody hell. Each time an enemy NCU activates, you may remove 1 order token from Courtney. If you do, choose 2 zones. If that NCU claims either zone, before resolving that zone's effect, target any number of friendly combat units. Restore D3 plus 2 wounds across those units.
That's pretty strong with 3 order tokens. Like, you know, that's 3. That's turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Like the game's normally decided across those turns, or you know, like to be honest, maybe 3, 4, and 5 because you might not even see any damage done yet by the time Courtney activates on turn 2.
You don't even have to activate them all in different rounds. It's not an order.
Yeah.
You can do them.
Oh, that's true. Actually,
in the
yeah.
same round as you
every
like.
time an enemy activates.
Don't take
Yeah,
those.
I think he's pretty strong for 4 actually.
Yep. Same. And that's done with the Baratheons. So we're nearly there, Carlo. And we've only got
Nearly.
the biggest faction
I
to go.
think the Baratheons are a complete mid-tier pick. They have some really tanky stuff. I think that they will be limited to a few really powerful units with some supporting stuff. I think Stag Knights will actually be quite a big part of their play, as will Champions of the Stag. So I'm interested to give them a go. I don't think that they're necessarily going to be blowing people away, though. They're going to be consistent as they were before. If anything, they're a bit more powerful.
Cool. We're going to go into Targaryens, and we're going to do it quickly, hopefully. What do you think about Targaryens before we start?
They maybe not quite everything that I first thought they were going to be when they were first revealed, but they're definitely up there in the discussion.
Cool. Right, let us go through Targaryens. Dothraki Screamers for 6, 7/4 and a 3+ with a 5+ armor, 5+ morale, and a Furious Charge.
they got Furious Charge for free, right? By
Basically.
comparison to what they used to have,
And
and they managed to keep their aggressive attack profile while everybody else got worse. So very powerful unit at 6 points.
Massive morale boost as well. Cool. Moving on to the Outriders. So we got 7/4 short range attack with a 4+, a 5/4 4+ melee attack with 5+ armor, 5+ morale, and the Outrider bow, so they can choose to forego the maneuver to get +1 to hit and become long ranged on the Outrider bow.
Interesting. I don't know why you. Well, I mean, I feel like you're just gonna stand still and shoot at 3+.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty powerful. I think 7 dice on 3+ is a powerful ranged unit. Plus, then you can redeploy whenever you want, and you have, generally speaking, a bit of a better attack profile than the rest of the ranged units. You also have a lower roll off than other ranged units because you have 2 ranks. Good, not quite what they were when they just straight hit on a 3+, right?
Yeah, that was in the visions. Plus side, Outrider blade. They have a melee attack. Woohoo! So, Dothraki veterans for 8. They've got 7/4 short bow on a 4+. The melee attack is the 7/4 on a 3+. 5+ armor, 5+ morale. Swift retreat and quickfire. They lost +1 to hit on the bow.
Yeah. Did they also go down from a 7/5 to 7/4?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. The -1 to hit on the range does hurt a bit. They're not like obscene anymore. I think that they're absolutely acceptable at 8 points. I think they're better than Lance Cavalry. They're better than Lance. They're better than Knights of Castle Rock, and they're better than whatever they're called. Tourney Cavaliers.
Tourney Cavaliers. We're getting there. We're getting tired, aren't we? Jesus. Right, draw moment 3. The scout openings with the reroll attacks and precision against an enemy unit for all attacks that turn. 4+, 4+.
Absolutely fucking amazing. 5 out of 5.
Yep. Solo
Still
Riders.
costs 3 points. Yeah, he's got 3 wounds now instead of 2. Yeah, he's really good.
This man is kind of why I might think about bringing traps, because even if I get 1 hit off against him and he takes a wound, might be an easy way of killing him later on. Alright, Unsullied Swordmasters for 8. They come with 8/7/6 on a 3+, 4+ armor, 4+ morale, and precision. They lose a movement point. They're down to 5 movement. They may always reroll attack dice, is their special rule, and opponents cannot expend weakened when they attack.
Interesting. So they can still be weakened and have weakened used to get to use abilities on them. So
but you can't spend the weaken on them while they're attacking, so that doesn't necessarily mean just the rerolls, but it could be in other cards while they're attacking. Spend the weaken.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, they're better. They're better. I know they've gone from a 2+ to a 3+ to hit, but they're just better at 8 points. Like you didn't want to spend 9 points on them. I think I'd rather have veterans a lot of the time, so maybe I'd give them a 3, not a 4. But yeah.
Cool. Unsullied Pikemen for 7 points. Set for charge and shield wall on 7/7/4 3+ with a 4+ armor, 4+ morale. Set for charge is great. Shield wall is great, and they're 5 movement, not 4.
These guys are great at 7 points. They're better than the Swordmasters, in my opinion. And I mean, even if these were 8, I would say they're better than the Swordmasters. Particularly because set for charge, is front and flank for no apparent reason. Really, really solid unit. Great commander bunker, great everything. Yeah. You field 2 of them.
Yeah, I honestly, they're really good. Drogon 2, moving into the dragons, they're now 8 points. And they're all the same, except of course, the type of panic token they put out, or the token they put out. So 2 dice on a 2+, 4+ armor, 2+ morale. So they actually interact with the game now. It's vicious. With any hits from this attack cannot be blocked. If it generates any hits, instead of rolling defense dice, the defender suffers D3 plus 3 wounds, and 1 enemy in short range of the defender becomes panicked, vulnerable, weakened. What do you think?
So I think it's a good change, right? So for a start, at 9 points, that they were too expensive, but MOD at 7 points was crazy. So they needed to get worse for MOD, but they needed to get better for everybody else. And I think they are better for 8 points than they were for 9 points. But MOD, they're just a little bit worse in general because they hit on a 2+, which is more the sake, and they have 2 attacks, right? So they're pretty much always going to hit, but they do interact with abilities now that, like, they interact with disrupt and stuff like that to make that possible. They interact with weaken, they interact with that kind of stuff. They also have a morale of 2+, pass nearly all the time, but they can interact with the morale abilities now. So they just basically have to play the game like everybody else has to play the game. It's like Space Marines lost their they shall know no fear rule, which was just like, we ignore all the things that you do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we ignore any rule that we don't actually like. The big one is that they moved from ranged short range attack to having a melee only attack. That again means that they just have to play the game with other people instead of dancing around them, and means that their ability to ignore terrain doesn't make them an absolute nightmare where they just like jump around you and then shoot you and never actually engage. I think it's a really great improvement. I don't know where their balance is at. I'm finding it hard to see exactly how powerful they are. Mother of Dragons still could be really, really powerful. She herself got ridiculously nerfed, you know what I mean, in terms of like her ability to generate cards and stuff like that. There is the new Unburnt Danny, who costs 5 points but gives a dragon reduction, so effectively costs 4. I think the dragons are in a much better place than they were. I think that they're looking quite balanced.
Yep. Cool. Right, we'll move on then, and we'll see Viserion. Oh, look, it's a vulnerable token. And Rhaegar, it's a weakened token. Great, we talked about that.
Yep.
The Hurricanes for 5 points. They are effectively on the way, arriving in 2 days' time for me. 3+, 6 dice, 4+, 4+ on the defensive stats. Come with Vicious and with the Outflank ability. What do you reckon?
Still very much not sold on them. Very mediocre. I think I'd rather just pick up Outriders for 6 points or Screamers for 6 points.
I do like the Outflank rule on this particular unit, though. Good for dealing with anything that you don't want to have to deal with and worry about, such as long range units. And of course, you might say, "Oh, but Outflank, it could be countered by field control." Yeah, in the mirror maybe. So
yeah, only one person's allowed to play Targaryens.
Next up, we've got Stormcrow Services, and we've already reviewed these guys, and they're exactly the same. But Carlo, why are they in purple? Purpley, reddy, maroon.
So that you can run a Stormcrow army and use a Targaryen deck if you want, or a Stormcrow army and use a neutral deck if you want. This one I don't care about as much because there are multiple units and they're identical. They are actually identical, so it doesn't really matter what color their card is. Yeah, they're fine. I guess it's just a theme thing. I'm waiting for an FAQ about whether or not like you're only allowed to use one variant of them or whatever. Not that it would matter, but yeah.
The thing that I don't like is that it's a stupid thing to not like. Targaryen roster, if you ignore the dragons as 3 things and you said imagine the dragons is 1 thing that you just take multiple times, it basically is. The Targaryen roster's actually gone up to 13 units base in the faction, which makes it the most 11 units or 12 units base, which makes it the most easily the most units in any faction.
Yeah. Panda, no, I would never take more than 1 Harakar. I think it's an optional 1. I would not take 2.
Might take 2 if you deploy. You always deploy 1 on the field though first. That's the thing.
Yeah, but then you're paying points for outflank that you're not using. Like at that point, I'm definitely just like take a Dothraki Screamer.
Yeah. Stormcrow Archers, yeah, we know they're great. Them being native is pretty good, pretty useful. Stormcrow Mercenaries, them being native, also pretty cool because you can spend more points on those attachments.
Fine. Yeah, but they're in a way better spot anyway, just because they're infantry and everything came down in costs. Do you know what I mean? Like that they came down from 9 and 9 down to 7 and 8, and their dragons are now 8. Means that they didn't need these changes. These changes were needed when they only had 9-point units.
Yep. Next up, we see Freedmen, and this is where it gets really memey because you had all those other changes, and now you have this one. Unfortunately, my prediction of them being on War Machine bases was incorrect. They are in fact on solo bases. My bad. I put my hands up to that one. I tried.
I don't understand how 3 little skinny dudes on a base have 6 wounds though.
Because it's meant to represent a horde, like free folk. Oh wait, no, hang on, wait. These guys are 3-point activations, and I'm worried that they are wolves a little bit, but they don't control objectives at least.
Yeah, I don't think they made all the same mistakes again, but there are some issues which I think that the same things will come up, which is that just using them to waste time, um, just waste time while powerful units can then go late in the turn and do whatever they feel like is a very big important play. They are 3 points, not like 1 point, which is what you could have got some wolves for in the past. So like it's not. There are other 3 point activations out there. Why do Targaryens get them all though?
Yes, it's a very good
Everybody
question.
else said basically an activation has to cost 4 points now. Okay.
I also think that they coming with gang up for free while thematic and nice is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Because you can just buff those pikemen up, just sit them behind the pikemen, and then just run
Yeah,
in.
they're not worthless.
No.
Particularly if you can use them all at the end of the turn after your opponent's had to activate.
Yep. All right then.
Do I pick him over Jorah? No, never. No. But
Khal
with
Drogo.
Jorah,
Khal Drogo. We'll look at these guys. Expert duelist in Iron Resolve. We've seen this guy before. Quick rate.
expert duelist on a unit as cavalry that A, can't be killed back, B, can get wherever it wants, is way more powerful than just when it's generally out there. So I think he's really strong.
Yep. Jorah Mormont with Ambush, the flank attack rule, and Stubborn Tenacity.
Decent, you know what? Like, that they're good for cavalry, good rules for Targs to have. They're the kind of things that they're missing right now. So yeah, ambush is particularly important for them.
Cool. 2-point attachment Jorah, we see Tactical Reposition, the Shift, and Stubborn Tenacity.
What's he cost? 1 point now?
2
Does he
points.
cost 2 points? 2 points. No, too much. No.
Oh, okay.
Buy better units. Buy more units.
Buy more units. Screamer Co. only attached to Targaryen course for 1 point. Martial training.
Reroll and defender becomes vulnerable. Yeah, it's okay. 3 out of 5. Meh.
Outrider Co. only Targaryen units. Disrupt.
Nah. They're a very aggressive faction now, in my opinion. I don't want my cavalry to be running disrupt. I'm looking just flat out. They're the new cruise missile torpedoes.
Hey, interesting fact. This was probably Agile before they removed Agile. Agile on Outrider Co. on Outriders.
That would have been good.
That sounds sad. Unsaid officer for 3, Relentless, and Go Down Fighting.
Yes, powerful at 3 points. Not sure exactly which units I want to put it in. Yeah.
It's not boldness
it's
and
okay.
courage, though, is it?
No, it's not. It's not boldness and courage, and they don't play into a single unit in the same way with like with the new vows and just like super powering a unit. So I don't think that they make as much use of it. It feels far more acceptable. I don't complain about this, and also they don't have a ranged unit to abuse it.
No. Well, they do. They've got Stormcrow archers.
They
'Cause it's
do,
native.
but I don't feel like it abuses it as much.
Okay then. Barristan told me the commander version, Nightly Vow. We talked about that, and Embolden.
Yeah, Nightly Vow's probably better now. Embolden is better now. Sure, he's fine. I think, but you're comparing him to Drogo, really.
Yep. Strong Bell Lass for 1 point. The best character in the freaking game comes with Battle Scars. He builds the tokens up and he gets the extra abilities. I actually think this is way better. He used to be 2 points for basically the same thing.
Yeah.
This is for 1 point is better because things survive more attacks.
Yeah, this is good. Like he's very strong for 1. Yeah, like you can play around him, but like he's pretty annoying for 1 point. I call him a 4 out of 5.
Jorah Mormont for 1, he can only be attached to a unit containing Dany, and he ignores the attachment rules. And whatever may come, each time an enemy performs a melee attack on this unit, after rolling attack dice, you may destroy Jorah. If you do, that enemy becomes vulnerable and weakened.
No, not for me.
Only fielded in an army that contains Daenerys Targaryen and must be attached to her unit, that should say, ignoring the usual attachment limits. So there's another one. Same way. Jorah the Andal. So martial training and stand your ground.
No,
2-point variant.
not for 2 points.
And Commander Bellas. Taunt and Hardened.
How many points? 2?
Commander.
Oh, Commander. No. No. Also, he gets rid of field control. No.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Not at all.
Grey Worm. Bonus encouraging Counterstrike. Sounds pretty good.
Yes, I like him as another variant. If you're gonna go on-field commander, I like Grey Worm.
Grey Worm for 2 points. Bonus encourage and Rally Cry. That's a nice little package for 2 points.
Yes, that's passable. We'll call it 3 out of 5. And yeah, Hicks hooks. Just as Mickey described them to me, I realized that I definitely didn't do Jorah because I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he could only attach to Dany.
There we go. This is why we do these big reveals so Carlo can double check to make sure he's coded all the things right. Dany Targaryen, the mother of dragons. So this is obviously the mother of the motherlode. When she's destroyed opponent 2 victory points, standard now for these type of things. And mother of dragons, once per game, at the start of any turn, you can search your tactics deck or discard pile for one of Daenerys' commander cards, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. This is nowhere near the card cycling that we saw on Dany before. Like, just once per game. Like,
no.
This alone was probably
all the
enough.
So now we're back. Now we get to answer the real question, which we never knew before: is are the dragons actually good? 3 of them for 21 points. I think she'll be mid tier. I think the dragons are very mid, unless the meta really shifts towards things trying to be really tanky and stuff. In which case, the dragons could actually still have big play because they have the kind of damage that can get through it.
Yes, completely agree. We look at the Queen of Marine variant of Daenerys Targaryen now with Intimidating Presence and Rightful Queen. Every time someone claims crowns, you can replace it for search for one of her commander decks from the tactics deck, not from the discard.
Yeah, it's okay. Those only
counterplot.
crowns for the replace is yeah. You do have counterplot and a much more control-y style. I don't. It's not the style I'd like to play with Targaryens though.
Darren Harris for 1 point. We've already talked about him. Criplo for a position for a point. I have no desire to play against that in something like Unsullied. No desire whatsoever. That sounds disgusting because you can put them in the Unsullied Swordmaster. No rerolls. Yeah, because you can't weaken them. It's disgusting. Darren Harris, Commander. He comes with an extra card that takes a card out of the Targaryen deck and is exactly the same. So there is a genuine question of, is it better to take neutral Commander Dario or Targaryen Commander Dario? It's probably
my real question is are they going to FAQ it that you must take Targaryen Dario?
I don't know.
Like,
because the thing is, if the Targaryen version is better anyway, it's academic. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But if the neutral version tends to be better, that's really not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully the Targaryen ends up being better. Stormcrow Lieutenant for 1 point, again seeing a native unit coming through, native attachment because it's a Stormcrow. And we see the 4 point NCUs starting off now with Daenerys Targaryen Khaleesi. Each time Daenerys influences a unit, remove a condition token. While influencing a unit, the main attack skill, re-roll any attack dice. So not highest attack dice, but re-rolling instead. I think this is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I liked her more before when she gave like the +1 move, right? She used to give +1 move and avoid and ignore terrain or something like that.
Yeah.
But the reroll attacks is quite similar under the new terrain rules to ignoring terrain because lots of terrain just gets rid of your attack dice. Yeah. I would say she's better than Catelyn.
Yeah.
Or is she identical to Catelyn?
Basically the same, but Catelyn's maxed attack rice. Whereas rerolls are probably better. In some ways.
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah.
Illyrio, we saw him before. Target one friendly. Anytime he anytime he claims a zone, target one friendly combat unit. They restore 3 wounds, and any enemies become weakened. Great.
Yeah. No, not really.
You mean you're going to keep something alive?
I don't want to replace a zone with a zone that practically already exists for 4 points. I'm not interested in that.
That's fair enough.
I'm not paying 4 points for that when like most other NCUs get something on top of the zone that they just took.
Okay, Piat Pri still brings the House of Undying. Place the House of Undying tactics card a zone next to the tactics board at the start of the game. That's an additional tactics zone for all purposes. Each time a friendly NCU claims the House of Undying zone, you may replace that zone's effect with. Your opponent must reveal one tactics card at random from their hand. You may have them discard that card or return it to the hand. If you return it to the hand, they must then randomly discard one tactics card.
But that's a replace zone effect.
Yep.
I'm not. I don't know. It's okay. If you want to bring the House of the Undying, cool. He brings that along and he can replace it himself or other people.
Yep.
It's not as powerful as when he could +1 -1 the dice. The zone isn't so in his favor anymore.
Yeah. Okay then. Varys and Somi at 5, he's basically the same. Influence unit. Each time that unit is targeted by an enemy ability or tactics card, you may remove this card from that unit to cancel the effect of that ability or tactics card. So he is the same.
I still don't care until they really tell us what target means. 5.
They have done a better job, but
5 is 5's maybe a tiny hard sell, but I think it is a very good 4-point ability. So yeah, he's probably better at 5 than he is at 4, but I'm not buying him at 5.
Okay. Zarozo and Daxos. While influencing a friendly unit, the unit suffers/gains the following based on what zone Zaro controls. With crowns, it's +1 move from failed panics. From moneybags, it's +1. This unit blocks +1 hit. From letters, the unit's attack gain +1 dice, and if he controls the zone of the House of the Undying, the unit attacks control could get -1 attack dice.
When he claims his zone attached to a combat unit, friendly or enemy.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So crowns and undying are negative.
Yep.
Effect. It's interesting because yeah, that's actually really interesting. I hadn't seen it. Basically, you don't get to choose which ones you have except by taking zones, and 2 of them are positive and 2 of them are negative. So it really shoehorns you into taking certain zones because you'll pick when you first do it. I think, roughly speaking, what you'll do is you'll activate another NCU, pick up one of the abilities, and then try and activate Zaran Zoan while putting the second effect, the second positive or the second negative onto a unit at the same time.
It only takes a what zone he controls.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were getting. I thought it was all zones being controlled. Okay. That's interesting. It's a lot more options than he used to have, and I used to think he was quite good before. Actually, yeah, I think he's a decent 4-point unit.
I quite like him still. I like the fact simple fact. I like that he has synergy with the House of the Undying.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you don't get this all the time, but if you want to have this thing, you can build a list, right? We then have the Unburnt, which is still broken in the builder. No, it isn't broken. It's
not.
Isn't it a little bit broken? Isn't it a little bit broken?
Well, I mean, it's not perfect.
Yeah, there was a massive workaround. We just really bad coding, and what you do is you take away the points at the end, right? Deal with the problem later.
Deal with everything later.
She comes with this ability here. Each time she claims a zone, one friendly Drogon, Rhaegal, or Viserion can perform an attack action. So that 7-point dragon getting free attack every turn. Pretty cool.
I think that she's a great pick. Yeah. Like, I think she really is a great pick. If you're going to take a dragon, as Bruce was saying, taking one dragon seems like pretty meta into the things that it counters.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Cool. And that is the end of the Targaryens. Do you want to summarize this up while I pull up the Greyjoy stuff?
I think the Targaryens got toned down just a little bit. We're definitely not doing Greyjoys, Mickey.
I know. I was baiting you.
The Targaryens got toned down a little bit, and they became much, much more manageable than when we first saw them. I think that they're up there with Lannisters and Night's Watch in the 3 that will be making power plays. I expect one of those 3 to win the first tournament. To be honest, I expect Lannisters or Night's Watch to win the first tournament. I think the Targaryens are a little step behind them right now, but they're still but they make a nice-ish I don't know if nice is the right word. They make an interesting three faction dynamic of like hyper aggressive, hyper control, and gun line. And it'll be interesting to know how they shape up against each other.
Finishing off with Greyjoys, then we're not going to go through them. Check them out. We went through a whole video on these fairly recently, and they haven't changed because they were already 2021 balance. So go check them out. They're really cool, right? That brings us to the end of this particular episode, guys. The stats builder is up and working. Go and use it where you can. It is great. Is there some changes happening to the site you wanted to mention, Carlo? Are they any of them live yet?
I was going to tonight. I mean, maybe.
Sorry.
So, I was gonna say that matchmaking will probably be live tonight, but I really don't know. I'm probably gonna stick it out to the Patreons to do some testing. The new matchmaking system, which is that players matchmake before their game, put in both their lists, then select their lists, and do all of that before they make a submission. That whole process should make things a lot easier and much better for when you're using it in person. It means that people don't have to go in and submit their lists afterwards, all that kind of stuff. That is pretty much done, except that it doesn't look great yet. It's been a bit rushed. But yes, I just need to test it, and then it will be live like tonight. And then I can finally move on to putting tournaments back in. But yeah, we're coming. Things are coming. We'll come back over the next week or so, like that.
So a new matchmaking feature. It doesn't auto matchmake, guys. It does not auto matchmake. That's not what it does. But it allows you to challenge someone on the site live and then accept challenges and run basically all of the prep through the site. And eventually, what we're hoping to achieve, Bartender, if he's watching this back or listening right now, one day you'll be able to import the actual match straight into the game, and eventually, hopefully, submit the result of the game in TTS. Those of you playing on TTS.
What I'm actually really hoping to achieve is people being able to find each other in person as well. For people to be able to see and challenge people within like a distance of themselves. You know, like to be able to see people who live within 50 miles of themselves. To see what stores people play at. To really help enhance in-person gaming. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's the
plan. TTS is still a very important part of the game, but the site was built for in-person gaming. Like, it wasn't built for TTS. That's just something that we did over the past year because of the pandemic. The site is built to enhance you playing on the table in a similar way that, like, once upon a time I would never have played a game without using War Council. I don't really use the physical cards anymore. This is taking that a whole nother step further, which is it has the builder, which is just the same as War Council, gives you access to all the cards, and it just helps you navigate that whole process of what two lists are you playing, what two lists am I playing, how we're going to select them, and do that in person, submit our result, bang, everybody wins, everybody gets a better gaming experience. It's about enhancing the entire gaming experience.
Yep.
While hoovering up your stats. Do like nefarious stuff, like, you know, show you what's good.
Yeah. So guys, that's what's coming. We will call it there for a night. It's been 13 minutes shy of 4 hours, and not gonna lie, our 15-minute down the drain thing went down the drain completely because we started with Lannisters. We should have started with something Carlo hates. And we'll play the intro video out again. We'll catch you all next week. We'll probably actually talk about some tournaments and things that are upcoming, the starting of the 2021 season, as it were. And enjoy your testing, and we'll see you next week.
What's going on? Huh. Article. What? What? No, not worth it.
Ready to be released. I'm gonna say ready, you know, whenever the game is released, I believe it's ready. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Almost about to level up.